Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right. Hold on. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Sorry for the delay. Give me a second. Hold on. I'm trying to get this out. Shan's going to be sending it to him. Sorry about that, Malaki. Most High bless. So we're going to get to the bottom of this. The brother Malaki, Honor and Humility, is coming on tonight to address all issues pertaining to his understanding of the scriptures dealing with the dietary law, right? Health, and what other questions, excuse me, anyone may have. I have no bone in this. I actually called the brother up to ask him if he want to come on to express himself and explain it, because I've been getting a lot of texts from people. Okay, good. Oh, he might have a lot of texts from people. Okay, Malaki. So, you know, like really going to Brother Nat. You know, I watched some of the video. You know, I didn't watch all of it in its entirety, but some of the stuff I agree with and some stuff I didn't see. You know, so we're going to see. His brother is very capable, and his congregation is very capable of defending himself. He don't need me to do this, or anyone else. So I've been knowing this brother for some time. Very good brother, kind. You know, he opened his arms to help people, even when it's not fashionable to help people. Excuse me. Even when it's not fashionable to help people, he has helped people. He's invited people to his home. Like I said, he's fed people, and he's been teaching for some time. He's a great teacher. Him and the brothers that's beside him. Other stuff going on, controversial with money and all that. I have nothing to do with that. If he want to discuss that, he can. You know, if he want me to speak on it, I'll speak on it. You know, but the brother is being attacked on all levels. So it's interesting. On what I see is the brotherhood, because I'm trying to figure out, and maybe he can explain it to me. Where's the sin? Hold on. Take my brother right here. Hold on. Okay, Mally, that was Shashan. He just called me. I don't know if I must have given the wrong email because he said it don't exist. I told him look on the comment section. I'm illiterate in this type of stuff, man. So please be patient. I know I invited you on, and we never went through this type of difficulties before. He's out of town, so Shashan usually handle this type of stuff. No, Olmecs are not Israelites. Okay. But yeah, so this brother, all I can say is good things about him. You know, I don't know everything about that brother. Like y'all know anything about me. All I can say is good things about him. I just come and defend himself because I just see a lot of stuff. There it is. The link is in the room. If you can click on the link is in the room. Shashan just put it in. Always had good things about him, even some of his teaching. You know, I don't know. I just find it funny where we bring up stuff about doctrine. All the people that disagree with us, they don't never come back with us to show us scriptures. They like everybody got a million scriptures when it comes to him. And I just find it ironic when we bring out scriptures and teach something that people not all, but some people who don't agree, they don't come back with scriptures. They just make jokes and laugh and curl. But the link is in the room, Malaki. Shashan, if you can still send it to his email, and I appreciate it because I don't know if you can click, if you know how to. You should just be able to click on it. If you're on your laptop, just click it, and you'll come right on. There we go. There we go. All right. You should just be able to click on it. If you're on your laptop. Okay, yeah, you probably want to turn it. Right on.
Hold on. Let me pause this real quick, brother.
Right.
Bye.
Yeah.
I'm all good. Hallelujah. Can you hear me out?
Hallelujah. Most High bless. Most High bless.
Hallelujah. Hey, hallelujah, man. All praises, glory, and honor to the Most High, the owner, the creator and possessor of everything there is. Forever live his anointed, beloved Son, the sinless one. Our holy Messiah in the hearts and minds of the faithful elect. Your brother Malaki, Macabee, your brother, your servant. I don't believe in any of them fancy titles or none of that. You know what I mean? Just your brother in arms. My brother Qanath hit me yesterday and was asking me to come on the show. And he was saying I was being attacked. I'm like, by who? You know what I mean? I don't feel no pressure. Yeah, like it ain't. Look, it's all good. You know what I mean? I do believe in being honorable when it comes to warfare. You know, certain people call themselves firing shots this way, but it's like squirting a water pistol at an elephant out to no avail. You know what I mean? And that ain't even, to come off boastful or nothing. You know what I mean? I thank the Most High for life. I thank the Most High for breath. You know what I mean? But I'm just being real with the situation. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, like it's been differences with the F.O.P.E school. And, you know, a few Negroes should try to fancy themselves as coming against y'all. But when the swords is out and the scholarship is on the table, you start seeing who really about what. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's other brothers whose fight this ain't even a fight, right? And they come out totally go against, the Sabbath and all that. No videos. You know what I mean? It's something, I don't know, man. It's just something like when I decided, because whatever I do, I don't believe in being politically correct. I take a hard line stance. I don't know how to tap dance, and you know what I mean? I just come straight forward with it. And basically what this is all about is this. This is what it's about. Recently, our assembly has taken a stance on challenging our people to put down what's poisoning us. You may have certain allowances in the scriptures, for instance, strong drink. You know what I mean? But based off what we know now, because knowledge has been increased, strong drink, we all know are distilled spirits. All right. Even though Deuteronomy 14:26 say you can drink strong drink, at what point do we level up and be mature as a people and say, hold on, but that's bad for me? That's not the spirit of the Most High I'm throwing down my throat. That's, if I'm not careful, I can have cirrhosis of the liver or something. So we're saying that, like, put down what's poisoning you, put down the strong drink, put down the flesh pots, and stop smoking. You know what I mean? Stop smoking. It's time to get back to living. You know what I mean? Now, when you come that hard in a hard position like that, naturally people are gonna be like, okay, scripture wise, what are you saying? All right. So just to let everybody know this, Honor and Humility is a healing ministry. You know what I mean? We have plenty of testimonials, whether it's healing by the word, through prayer. You know what I mean? Now, I ain't just talking about the common cold. I'm talking about like certain things that the doctors will say you couldn't get rid of. We got paperwork and all that, you know what I mean? And the people been healed, you know what I mean? All praise to the Most High, not to us, okay? Right. And also through studying the Most High's creation, nature, herbs. Shout out to my brother Yaki, my brother Aki Yaki, you know what I mean? My brother found his lane a couple years ago, saw something, and went hard body at it. You did. So we a healing ministry. A lot of the people, a lot of your favorite elders, a lot of your favorite street preachers, a lot of people actually come to us. You know what I mean? We really ain't got to say no names, but it's the truth. They actually come to us, you know what I mean? Because there's certain ailments and plagues that the nation of Israel is dealing with. So ask yourself this. How is conscious Israel still sick as if they're eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobsters? The nation's sick. I mean, you sell herbs and certain, medicinal things, Qanath. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
sell. Yeah, let me real quick, brother. I sell. I actually sell herbs sometimes. You know what I mean? And I got books. I just went to my den today, man. I got hundreds of books on herbs and stuff like that. So I do know the benefits of it. You know. But go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like we're healing ministry. No praise to us. All praise to the Most High. So if anybody's qualified to know who's sick, it's us. Like, we know who's sick, and the common denominator is what we're putting down our throats, whether it's the flesh pots, okay, Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14, whether it's the strong drink, or whether it's the smoke. Certain people smoke weed in the scriptures, not in the scriptures, but in what we call this truth, because they believe they're allowed to because of Genesis 1 and 29. Every herb bearing seed. They figure marijuana is an herb bearing seed. They got the right to smoke. You know what I mean? We all have been there. And as your brother, in this walk, close to 17 years now, I've partaken in all of it. I've partaken in the flesh. I've partaken in the strong drink. You know what I mean? And I've smoked weed in this, what we call this truth. You understand? Now, the whole thing is this. As of late, we've been like, look, y'all, it's time to put all that down. It's actually destroying our bodies. We know what's making our people sick. You know what I mean? And we're going to challenge you to level up and be better. You know what I mean? So
Can I ask you a question before you go in? Just a few questions. Why do you think brothers, that's coming against you on, is it the doctrine they're coming against you on, or you using herbs and so on? I mean, why do you think they're so hard-bodied coming at you about that? And there's a lot of other things we could talk about, like the stuff we brought up before nobody says anything. Why do you think they're coming at you like that?
Yeah, it's like this. I'm glad all this came out, because what it revealed was there's been a lot of spirits dwelling right below the surface. You know what I mean? As long as you like in agreement with certain brothers on certain things, it really ain't no, you know what I mean? This ain't about the doctrine. It's more than that. You know what I mean? Spirits of envy and jealousy. I mean, that's just what it is. It'll be that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna come on out and just say what it is. Envy and jealousy. For whatever reason. I don't know why. I'm a brother that'll give you the shirt off my back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm the brother that'll feed you. Like, it ain't there's no reason for anybody to be jealous or envious of me. You know what I mean? But if anybody know me, the only way I know is hard. I couldn't have come out with this tap dancing, sounding unsure. You know what I mean? Israel, you'd have been laughed back in the house. Macabee got to come off whole. I got to. That's just me. You know what I mean? When I see it and I see what it is, then, hey, brother, got to come on out with it. So I would say spirits of jealousy and envy. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, what else explains men that I've fed, men that I've opened up my arms to and my house to, men I've defended when everybody was coming against them? Several men. You know what I mean? That I actually was warned about. Not just one brother, but several men. That I actually was warned about. Like, hey, watch out for him. You know what I mean? That was a good 15 years ago. Then watch out for him. The other guy, I don't even want to speak his name anymore, but you know what I mean? Like, bro, I done opened my arms and been loyal and stood up when everybody was against you. Even if you disagree, that's what I'm saying. Disagreements, we can always do this. We can always talk and rap. You know what I mean? I can't force nobody to believe anything. You know what I mean? But if I see something and I see what it is and I'm being convicted by it, I got to speak up on it. Right. That's just what it is.
So you believe this is personal and envy and jealousy? Because I've seen some things like, wow, some things. I'm like, some things. And I'm
this is how you know. Yeah, now, look, let's go ahead and kick it off real quick, right? This is how you know it's envy and jealousy and personal. Nick, look, our organization got approved for a business, a PPP loan, business loan last year. You know what I mean? What does that have to do with what we're bringing up? Like, why would any Negro put that up there? Well, thank the Most High, we're studious businessmen. You know what I mean? We did what any businessman to do, put the money to work. And we still got it, you know what I mean? But the crazy part is how you know it's personal. Why would anybody put that up there? And everybody that I know was applying for a PPP loan. You know what I mean? I just found the right people who could give me what we needed, and we got it. And being the
would you say something? Look, like I said, I don't have nothing to do with this, but I'm just looking at it, and I'm glad you brought this part of it up before we go into the scriptures and get it all out. I heard this right, and I'm looking at this money, this and they doing this and whoop de whoop, and the first thing that came to my mind is where's the sin against Israel in this? That's one. Two, this sounds like snitching. If you was doing something wrong, right? If you was doing something wrong, this sounds like snitching. Yeah. Because I mean, you my brother, right?
Right.
If I seen brothers go in with me in liquor stores and say, "Hey man, so and so this took liquor," I'm looking. I said, "Oh snap." Thou shalt not steal this and third, but
right.
Am I gonna go snitch on my brother?
Right.
I mean, what good is that gonna do for me, the congregation, or that brother? But go ahead, I summarize.
You're absolutely right, man. These Millie Mouth Negroes looking like informants, man. I'm like, bruh. And then the one brother that I seen was the first one, because I was out of town when they was doing all that. You know what I mean? We be doing a lot of traveling. I was out of town, man, and a beloved brother of mine, Nehemiah, hit me up. And he was saying it was a childhood partner of mine, a friend of mine. You know what I mean? Who over there listening to the other side and not even, and he know me. He got my number. All you gotta do is rap to me. You know what I mean? But that right there shows the envy and jealousy. When you start trip off this, you know what they call it? They call it ad hominem attack. You attack the person and not the position the person is coming out with. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But that's the thing, y'all. Look, if anybody know me, I'm always transparent. I ain't ducking nothing. When I say on the video, I want all the smoke. I want that. Right? I'm not ducking no questions or none of that. You know what I mean? Right. We are challenging our people to live. Put down what's poisoning you, because it makes no sense that the majority of Israel is sick as if they're eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobsters. You understand? Right. Majority of these sicknesses come from what's called food-borne illnesses. Believe it or not. All right.
Well, I know this, brother. Like I said, I'm into herbs heavy. Yeah. I know this. Now they saying, and people, and by the way, it's up to you, because you said people come on and ask questions, as long, and it has if you do allow that, it has to be respectful. I'm not gonna allow nobody to disrespect any guest on the show.
Absolutely.
Now they say that you changing the doctrine, y'all going into Nazarene text, or you said they took out this, they took out that. Now, before you answer that, I know the stuff that we teach, right? I say, you know what, y'all not seeing certain things a certain way, and they can't come against it.
Right.
Do you feel like it's the same thing, or do they have any validity about you trying to add or take away? Because the Nazarene text they see we're coming up with, you taking and you adding away. I mean, you take and you add.
That's a good question. Now, we can never be guilty of adding to, or taking away from the scripture, because we are not scribes. Scribes, those who have been given authority by those in charge, or those who have authority, add to the scriptures and take away from the scriptures. You see that? You see that with every version of the Bible that come out. Great grace and peace, my Yehuda, F.O.P.E. Hallelujah. But just to answer you, Qanath,
he's telling the story. But go ahead, finish.
Yeah, but just to answer you, Qanath, honor and humility of Malaki Macabee can never be guilty of adding to or taking away from the scripture, because we're not scribes. All right, scribes have that authority. I'm saying this: every version that comes out with the Bible, there are missing verses. All right. If you search older scriptures or older texts that predate the King James Bible, they are extended verses, meaning, you know what I mean, verses that made into the KJV got half of the verses missing. You see what I'm saying? So we are not the ones that can be guilty of adding to or taking away from the scriptures. What we've been pointing out is obvious conflicts. All right, obvious conflicts that's in the scripture. You understand? Now, with any conflict, with any kind, and we're never saying put the Bible down. The Bible changed my life. You know what I mean? I know I'm an Israelite through morals. I know how to act. I know how to act righteously with my spouse, with my children, with my brothers, with my sisters. You know what I mean? With this earth. So we ain't never saying put the Bible down. What we're showing is there are two paths laid out in the scriptures. All right, a path of life and a path of death. All right, everything written in the Torah is not written for you. And hopefully I can explain what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We can jump into some scriptures.
Yeah, go in, and then because we're gonna allow once you do that, it's still up to you if you want to let people come on and ask questions. We're not here to condemn, pass judgment, or to even help you in scripture or try to trap you. I just want you
to it's all good. What I'm saying when I say everything that's written in the scripture is not written for you, you know what I mean? What I'm saying can be easily found in what we call the Bible, what we call the Torah. Okay, so first scripture I want to go to. I don't know, maybe I can share my screen or y'all.
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Okay, that's what I want to do. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, first scripture we're going to go to, y'all, is Deuteronomy 30. Deuteronomy 30, we're going to read verse 15. All right. And grace and peace to the whole F.O.P.E. brotherhood, man. Love what you brothers are doing. I actually hollered at the white Isaiah or Isaiah Yehuda. You know what I mean? I'd say it's time for you brothers to take y'all scholarship to the academic realm. You know what I mean? It makes no sense to be trying to debate these camp Negroes or these assembly. It makes no sense. It's time for academic. You know what I mean? Bring it all the way up. Let me share this real quick.
A lot of people said that, man. Actually, we've been speaking at some universities. We just haven't done it, you know. But it's looking like we had to come do that.
Okay, so what do I mean by everything written in the Torah?
I don't see your screen, brother. I don't see your screen.
I'm about to share it. I'm about to share it real quick. Hold on 1 second, brother. I got you. All right,
hey, Qanath, while Malaki getting that ready, remember I told you, Qanath, in the Septuagint, I told you that it's a paragraph that they took out, the Masoretes took out, dealing with Jeroboam. Remember I told you?
Truth.
About the he took back a wife of Egypt, but the Masoretes, they took that part out, and that's in the Septuagint.
Absolutely true.
All right, go ahead, now.
What my brother Isaiah is saying is absolutely true. Okay. Now watch this. So we can never be guilty of adding to or taking from, because we're not scribes. You know what I mean? What we point out is obvious conflict. Deuteronomy 30 and 15. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, death and evil. Okay. There's two Torahs in the scriptures. There's two Torahs. There's a Torah of life and there's a Torah of death. There's a Torah of good and a Torah of evil. Okay. Verse 16. And that I command thee this day to love the Most High, to walk in his ways and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Most High thy power shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. A brother say, see right there, it ain't just the commandments, it's the statutes and judgments as well. But listen to me. It's the statutes and judgments that pertain to life, not death. Life. Okay? So about this, verse 17. But if thine heart turn away so that thou wilt not hurt, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce unto thee this day that you shall perish and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou passest over Jordan to go and possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your seed may live. All right. Now, I just want to make sure everybody understand what I just read thus far. There are two paths set before you. All right. There are two paths set before you. Y'all look, and that comes down to every decision you make in life. even down to what you put in your mouth. Even what you put in your mouth, it's either making a decision or a choice toward living, or is making a choice or a decision toward dying. Okay. Next scripture I want to go to. I want to just show something real quick. Deuteronomy 31. Deuteronomy 31. 24 through 27. What am I saying when I say that everything written in the Torah is not written for you? Because there are things written against you. Brothers and sisters, there are laws in the Torah that everybody claim they keeping, 613 laws that are not written for you. They're written against you. All right. Deuteronomy 31, 24 through 27. All right. And it came to pass when Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book until they were finished, that Moses commanded the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Most High, saying, take this book of the law and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant. All right. When you get into the different versions, in the side means on the side or beside the ark of the covenant. Okay. Of the Most High, your power, that it may be there for a witness against you. A witness against these Levitical priests. And the Levitical priests instructed the people. All right. This law that Moses wrote was put beside the Ark of the Covenant, and it was written by Moses, not by the Most High, as a witness against you. Starting with the priest on down to the people who the priest instruct. Verse 27. For I know your rebellion. Look at this. For I know your rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, I am yet alive with you this day, and you have been rebellious against the Most High. And how much more after my death? Now trip off this. What laws are these, Qanath? What laws are these that Moses wrote that were put beside the Ark of the Covenant? Not inside of it, beside of it. And it was written as a witness against the people for rebellion. What laws are these? What laws are these? Are these the laws that the Messiah came, taught for, and died for?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Are these 613 laws all these Israelites claim they keeping, doing all they Torah portions every Shabbat, that they copying from the false Jew? Huh? What laws are these? Okay.
I have to agree, man. Those laws was a witness against the people. That's 100% correct.
That's right. What laws are these? Now notice, these laws were written by Moses, and they were put beside the ark. And they were written as a testimony, as a witness against the people because of rebellion. Because of rebellion.
That's right.
And these Negroes got all y'all convinced they keeping 613 laws.
That's right.
Now, what laws are these right here? Now, let's go show something else, Qanath. Watch this. Let's go to Deuteronomy 9. Let's show the difference. Moses wrote these laws. He said, there's life and death I put before you. Then we go to the next chapter. Moses wrote them laws, and he wrote them as a witness against the people, and they were put down for rebellion. All right. If everybody understand what I'm saying so far, please put a 7 up in the chat. I don't want to lose nobody with this. I don't even want to lose nobody with this. Next scripture we go into, Deuteronomy 9. Let's show the difference. Deuteronomy 9. All right. What laws were written against the people? What laws were written for rebellion, for a testimony against you? Because I know you are stiff-necked people. I know you're rebellious. Deuteronomy 9 and 7, Qanath, watch this. Remember and forget not how thou provoked the Most High thy power to wrath in the wilderness, from the day that thou didst depart out of the land of Egypt until you came into this place. Ye have been rebellious against the Most High. Also in Horeb, you provoked the Most High to wrath, so that the Most High was angry with you to have destroyed you. when I was going up into the mount to receive the tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant, which the Most High made with you. Then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. I neither did eat bread nor drink water. Remember that. Moses didn't eat bread or drink water, right? Watch this, verse 10. And the Most High delivered unto me 2 tables of stone, written with the finger of the Most High. You see that? The other laws we read about, Moses wrote them. But these laws were written with the finger of the Most High. Qanath, you see that? 2 different set of laws. And on them was written according to all the words which the Most High spake with you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of assembly. Verse 11. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days and 40 nights that the Most High gave me 2 tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant. Now, these laws or commandments, we know today is the 10 commandments. They were written with the finger of the Most High, and they are called his covenant. These are the commandments that our people broke. These are the commandments that our people broke. These are the covenant laws.
Let him go away, Yehuda.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. No, I was going to
let him. I want him.
What's that going on?
Go ahead, Yehuda. You can say something. I said, go ahead. You can say something. I
was going to tell Mally why he's speaking, right? To go to Ezekiel 20 and read verse 25.
I'm going there next. I'm going there next.
Okay.
I'm going there next.
All right. Okay. Go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you no more. Go ahead.
Hey, we loaded up over here, man. I'm going there next.
Okay, got you.
See what I'm saying?
Come on, just give us a second, bro.
Now trip off this. Everybody should be able to see the difference so far. Okay. The first laws we've seen, Moses wrote them. Okay. They went beside the Ark of the Covenant, and they were put there as a witness against the people for rebellion. These laws right here were written with the finger of the Most High. Okay. And they're called the covenant of the Almighty. All right. If everybody understand that, please give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Before I go to Ezekiel 20, I'm going over here to 1 Kings 8. Let's show where these commandments went. All right. Let's show where these commandments went. Everything written in the Torah, y'all, is not written for you. There are laws written against you for rebellion as a witness against you.
Yep.
That's just the truth.
No, that's right.
All right. First Kings 9. Correct. First Kings 9 and 6. Now, where did the commandments go that the Most High wrote with his finger? Because we see where the laws went that Moses wrote. Where the commandments that the Most High wrote with his finger, where did they go in relation to the Ark of the Covenant? 1 Kings 9 and 6. All right. 1 Kings 9. Hold on. I got you. 9 and I think it's 1 Kings 8. Forgive me, y'all. I went over one. I went back one chapter. I went up one chapter too quick. All right. Let me go to 1 Kings 8. All right. Misfire real quick, but hey, it's all good. 1 Kings 8. All right, we're going to start around verse 6. The ark brought into the temple. Ooh-wee. Okay. 1 Kings 8, verse 6. And the priest brought in the ark of the covenant of Yah into its place into the oracle of the house to the most holy place, even under the wings of the cherubims. For the cherubims spread forth their 2 wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves, that the ends of the staves were seen out in the holy place before the oracle. And they were not seen without. And there they are unto this day. There was nothing in the ark save the 2 tables of stone, which Moses put there at Horeb, when the Most High made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Egypt. You see that, Qanath?
Yes, sir.
Do y'all see that the laws written with the finger of the Most High are called his covenant. Those are the 10 commandments. That's
hey, listen, if you want me to do some reading for you, I can read for you. It's no problem.
Okay, no doubt, brother. No doubt.
Let me say something real quick because I don't like to say, and I'm sorry, Yehuda, I know I wanted you to not say anything, but I want to say something too because I don't want to forget it. It'll clearly slip my mind. But Yehuda, if you can, he might read this himself, but can you get that verse for me? Don't read it right now, even though I'm gonna quote part of it. The scripture where it says, I gave you laws you can't keep.
That's what I'm going to.
That's where Malak's going. That's where he's going.
Okay.
I'm going there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
Ezekiel 20.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And so that's what we've been doing as of late. You know, once I studied it, you know what I mean? Because tell the truth, my brother Yaki, he been off the flesh for 5 or 6 years, and just based off our own conversations, you know what I mean? He always was like, man, something, you know, I don't think something quite right. Like with the flesh, because I'm seeing how people are getting healed, getting off of it. But I'm always like, well, look, we got to be able to come out scripturally with it. You know what I mean? If we're going to come out with it, if we're going to come outside, we got to come out scripturally with it. You know what I mean? So I end up having to study a little deeper, and then I had to let the little brother know, like, hey, you know what? Hey, bro, you got a point here. You got a point. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people mad at, because I'm backing the little brother. I'm a back him. Look, if he's right, he right. If he's wrong, of course he's wrong. But if he's right, hey, you right. All right. So look, I just want to make sure everybody got understanding so far. The laws or the commandments called the 10 commandments, written with the finger of the Most High, all right, went inside the Ark of the Covenant. They were placed inside. Okay. That's his eternal Torah. That's his covenant that you broke. All right. In Deuteronomy 31, those were written with Moses' finger or Moses' penmanship. And they were put on the side or beside the Ark of the Covenant as a witness against the people for rebellion. These are not the same laws.
That's right.
These are not the same Torah. There's a Torah of life and there's a Torah of death. There's a Torah written for you, and there's a Torah written against you for rebellion. All right. So, brother, so people are like, well, why bring it out now? Because trip off this, y'all. We've been mingling the worships of life and death. You understand? We've been mingling worships. These men been teaching y'all 613 laws, supposedly, because I don't personally believe any Negro done counted 613 laws, but I'll give it to you. All right. What if you knew that those laws were actually written against you for rebellion? Okay. Next scripture, Ezekiel 20 that my aunt brought out. Ezekiel 20. I just want to make sure everybody understand. You know what I mean? We're going to keep it real simple. We ain't even going to get extra or too deep with this. All right. We're going to keep it real simple so you can understand what we're saying. Now, when he say,
you gotta go deep on this side of the fence, bro. We can FOP them up. I mean, you know.
I know. I just don't want to scare anybody off.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, because a lot of people trip about this. Like, a lot of people think we're saying put down the scriptures, and I've never said that. You know what I mean? But there are conflicts in the scriptures, meaning the prophets that were inspired by the Most High are speaking against what the priests are doing. And a lot of people are like, no, that's just because of sin. Well, I thought the whole purpose of a burnt offering or a sin offering was because people are sinning. The prophets are speaking directly against the so-called sacrifices. So you got people mad at us, and I'm like, what y'all mad for? None of y'all sacrificing. None of y'all bringing turtle doves and bullocks for sin. What y'all mad? Well, none of y'all. Look, y'all arguing with us about a dead priesthood.
Right. Ain't nobody going to the temple in Jerusalem. Ain't no priest touching the lamb, and then you touching the priest. Go ahead, Mal.
Exactly. So we got to stop playing with ourselves, y'all. Now, even the feast days, these Negroes claim they keeping up. You know what I mean? The priests played an integral part in the feast days. So you're lying to yourself if you think you keeping any feast in Leviticus 23, how Moses and everybody in the days of old kept it. You're not. If you're keeping a feast, it's simply a memorial. You know what I mean? It's a memorial, and we thank the Most High for allowing His Son to be that example and that exemplary sacrifice for us, man. But you're not keeping these 613 laws, not even when it comes to your feast days, huh? Not even when it comes to your Shabbat, you're not. All right? Ezekiel 20, y'all. Ezekiel 20. Isaiah, if you can, my brother, read 25 and 26 for it.
You said Ezekiel 20, man?
Yeah, Ezekiel 20, verse 25.
Okay, let me get it real quick here.
It's on the screen.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, here it is. And I polluted them in their own gifts, and that they caused to pass through the fire.
Go through 25. You see 25 on the screen?
Oh, my bad. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, here we go. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live.
Hold on right there, brother. Hold on right there. Y'all, this is the Most High speaking through Ezekiel. And he's saying, I gave them, talking about Israel, to the priests first and then to the people, because the priests instruct the people, right?
That's right.
I gave them also statutes that were not good.
That's right.
And judgments whereby they should not live. Y'all, what laws are those? What laws are those?
Exactly.
What about this? This is a witness. This is a witness to what we read in Deuteronomy 31. Put this beside the ark as a witness against you. For I know your rebellion. The Most High saying, look, there are statutes and judgments. There are laws in your Torah that everybody claim they following that are not good. And
hey, Malak, let me read verse 24 for you.
Go ahead, go ahead.
It says here, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Verse 25, one more time. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live.
Y'all see that? So the question is, y'all, what laws are these? We've been mingling the path of life and the path of death in this Israelite thing, claiming we keeping 613 laws. Y'all, and the path of life and death even has to do with what we call our diet, y'all. Yes, Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. There's a diet of life, what my people call a livet. Not a diet, but a livet. You find that in Genesis 1:29. You'll see even in the kingdom, Isaiah the 11th chapter, even the lion gonna be eating straw like the bullock. You see that in Revelation the 22nd chapter about the tree of life yielding her fruit, 12 manner of fruit every month, and the trees and the leaves of the trees are for the healings of the nation. This is eternal law. All right. Now, based off what we know, excuse me, based off what we know as a ministry, y'all, we trip out this without even taking herbs. We have people who have been diabetic their whole life, haven't even taken one herb, but went back to Genesis 1 and 29 and dealt with the fruits and the grain. Y'all, today, do you know their pancreas start yielding the proper amount of insulin? And these brothers and sisters are not even diabetic anymore by going back to Genesis 1:29, because you know the mealy mouth Negro will tell you, oh, that was when before we sinned. You know what I mean? Then why are fruits and veggies still healing the human body, even in our fallen state? We got y'all trip off this, not just diabetes, breast cancer. Trip off this, y'all. Kidney failure, dialysis. We have testimonials of people who aren't even on dialysis anymore. You understand? Because they subscribe to Genesis 1:29 and put down the flesh pots. The flesh pots, not sugar. The flesh pots is what's caused diabetes. The flesh pots is what's causing cancer. Y'all, and again, we know because we're a healing ministry. Okay, and that's all praises to the Almighty. All right. Now, when we breathe these things out, people be like, well, you know, Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14. Well, trip off this, y'all. How you know that Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 don't fall up under what we just read? I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. Watch this, verse 26. What does it say, Yehuda?
Verse 26, it says, and I polluted them in their own gifts, and that they let me start over. And I polluted them in their own gifts, and that they caused to pass through the fire, or that openeth the womb, that I might them I can't hardly see that I might make or that I might make them desolate. I might make them desolate to the end that they might know that I am the Lord.
See that? So the Most High is saying, so he's not, this is Ezekiel showing that the Most High is not, he's not pleased with the sacrifices that were going on in Israel.
Right.
He's not pleased with your animal sacrifices and your burnt offerings and your sin offerings. He's not pleased with it. And I don't even, for the life of me, understand why everybody mad at us, because y'all not even sacrificing anymore. Y'all not even bringing burnt offerings and sacrifices anymore. Y'all, this is in your Bible. If the Most High is saying, I polluted them with their own gifts.
With their own gifts.
Their gifts or their sacrifices.
Yep.
If the Most High is saying, I polluted them with that, and I gave them statues that were not good, but then we got laws in Leviticus that say you're supposed to do this, trip off this. Is it harmonizing or is it in conflict? It conflicts. If the Most High is saying, look, I gave you statues that were not good and judgments whereby you shouldn't live, and them offerings you brought me, you're defiled because you brought me them. You see that? All right, so if we see a prophet saying this, but then we go back to the law and see we got laws on burnt offerings and sacrifices, sin offerings and burnt offerings. You'll say, oh, that's just because, you know, we were sinful, when Israel ain't been sinful. When Israel ain't been in a murderous thoughts. You see that? So people are mad, Qanath, because we're showing the obvious conflict. The prophets that the Most High ordained and anointed are in conflict with the priesthood. And that's just one. That's just one. I'm gonna show one more real quick. I'm gonna show one more. All right, and then I'm gonna show about the food situation, and then, you know, Qanath, it's all good with the questions. You know what I mean? It's all good, and there's plenty of them. Even King David said, "Sacrifices and burnt offerings, Most High, you don't desire, nor do you require them." Hold on. What you mean he don't require them? I thought we had commandments on burnt offerings and sacrifices. And the thing is this, y'all. If we not sacrificing or killing animals, guess what we ain't doing? We not chewing on them either. You're not chewing on them either. All right?
Hey, Mally, after you read this verse you're about to read, go to Zechariah 10 after that and read verse 10 and 11.
Got you, my bro. All right, look at this. Isaiah 1 and 10. God has had enough. God has had enough. All right, y'all, there's conflict in the scriptures. That's it. You know what I mean? All right, there's conflict. That's all we point out. That way, guess what? That you can choose the right path and serve in the Almighty. All right. If there's conflict between the prophets and priests, you understand? Then, you know, as your brother, I'm gonna choose life. I'm gonna roll with the prophets. Like, it don't benefit me none to teach you about how to open up the belly of a lamb and take out the organs and remove the fat and burn it on an altar. Why would I teach you that? That's not life, that's death. So we teach life out the Bible, y'all. We ain't put the Bible down. We've been in the Bible the whole time, haven't we? It's just people are uncomfortable. You've been so comfortable because you're trying to make apples oranges. Y'all, there's conflicts in the Bible. And the beautiful thing about a conflict is this, y'all. All you can do is choose what side you on. That's it. God has had enough. Isaiah 1 and 10. Hear the word of Yah, ye rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our God, ye people of Gomorrah. The Most High calling us Israelites Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 11. Watch this. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me? The Most High asking, what is the reason you sacrifice? You know what the Negro gonna say? Oh, he's saying that because we were sinning. The purpose of bringing a sin offering and a burnt offering to the altar is for what? Obviously, because you're sinning. That's the point of the burnt offering and the sin offering. The Most High is asking, what is the reason you bringing this to me? The Most High, I am full of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or of goats. The Most High say he don't delight in that. But when you get into Leviticus, guess what it say? It's a sweet smelling savor. Isaiah is against what the priests are doing, the sacrifices. Ezekiel is against what the priests are doing, the sacrifices. Jeremiah, Hosea, Amos, King David, they all against the sacrificial code that these men claim you under. You're not under these men.
And Jeremiah, father was a Levite.
Oh, and that would make Jeremiah, that's what make what he say in Jeremiah 7 even more powerful.
Yeah, his father was a Levite.
You understand? Because he's a prophet, but he's a Levite.
Yep.
Oh, all right, now watch this. What about this? He says, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or of the goats or of he-goats. When you appear before me, what about this? Who have required this at your hand to tread my courts? He talking to you priests. And these Negroes got y'all got y'all convinced that they're Levites. That they run around here collecting tithe money.
Right, exactly. Come on.
These men got y'all really believing that you are still under the Levitical priesthood, the order of Aaron. No, you're not. No, you're not. The Most High is asking right here, who have required this at your hand to tread my courts? Y'all, the courts are in the temple.
Yep.
He asking, who told you to bring these bloody sacrifices to me? Who told you to bring this? They're in opposition. I know you want to make a blood a crib. They're not the same. I know you want an apple to be an orange, y'all. It's not the same. The prophets are in conflict with the priests and what they're doing. All right. One brother say, well, because in Malachi, the 2nd chapter, they talk about how the priesthood is defiled and the Most High devoured and destroyed them, right? One brother gonna bring me, he say, well, in the time of Onias, and then, the sons of Zadok. I say, brother, out of 1,500 years of sacrificing, you bring me 3 names. 3 names. Brother, that's a destroyed priesthood. No different than the kingship. The kingship was in rulership close to 1,000 years, from King David to the fall of Jerusalem. Out of that, how many righteous kings? Somewhat righteous. Who you got? King David, Hezekiah, Josiah. Out of all them kings, you bring me 3 names.
And they were sinners also. David was a sinner also.
Yeah, exactly. And all those men were sinners, right? Guess what? That's a failed priesthood and a failed kingship, y'all. Why you think Messiah is the one it all points to? It points to kingship, and the priesthood points to Hamashiach, the Messiah, the order of Melchizedek. All this is done away with. And even in the days when it was happening, guess what? The Most High was asking through his prophets, who have required you to tread my courts with this? Obviously, it wasn't the Most High. Watch this, 13. Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Why is it iniquity? Why is it sin? Why is he bringing up sin right after he bringing up you bringing him bloody sacrifices? What's the iniquity here? What's the real sin? I thought the Messiah said, if you knew what this meant, I would have mercy and not sacrifice. You would not have condemned the innocent. Who are the innocent that were being condemned in sacrifice? We right back to the animals. You know what I mean? We right back to the Most High's creation. And when you go to Genesis 1, even the animals are called a living soul just like you. When you look it up in the Hebrew, it's called Nefesh Kaya. They're called living creatures, just like you. Think about it. Why all these animals got to die? Because, nigga, you sin. Now, you're not even bringing sin offerings. So why all these animals got to die now? There's only one reason, Qanath and Isaiah. You know what? Lust. This thing bigger than your taste buds, Op. You killing the animals, and in essence, what you're eating is diseasing and killing you. You see how that go? Why is the Most High bringing up iniquity with the Sabbath, with the new moons, with the assemblies? Why is he bringing up iniquity right after he talk about treading his courts with bloody sacrifices? Because, y'all, that is the iniquity. That's what Messiah came to end. And he ended it. He prophesied it would come down. And in 70 AD, it all came down. And there ain't been a bloody sacrifice offered in the name of the Most High since. Verse 14. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth. Why he hate what he said that he commanded? Because they're feasts of blood. They're feasts of blood. You understand? Trip off this. They are trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. And when you spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Whose blood? We just was talking. Of course, we've always been murderers of each other, but we talking about treading his courts with bloody sacrifices. That's what Isaiah is talking about. So when you keeping the Sabbath and the feast days, and you chewing on the dead flesh of animals, that's a bloody feast. He ain't accepting that. He want a pure oblation, a memorial for what Messiah has done for us. Verse 16, wash you, make you clean, put away the what? The evil of your doings from me. Mine eye, from before mine eyes, cease to do evil. Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. Watch this. Come now, and let us reason together, saith the Most High. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Trip about this, y'all. If you be willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. My question is, what's that? What's the good of the land, y'all? Let's click on it. Let's click on what the good of the land is. Let's click on it.
Good of the land.
What's the good of the land?
You should devour the sword.
Good of the land. Matter of fact, here, let's go to the land. My bad, y'all. The good. We know what good is. That's tov. When you say boga tov, let's go to land. What's the good of the land? Let's go to land. Watch this. Oh, we. Firm earth, plenty common, country, earth, field, ground. Okay, right down here in Strong's definition. All right, eretz from an unused root, probably meaning to be firm. The earth at large or partially a land, common, country, earth, field. What's the good of the field? Ground, land, natins, way, wilderness, world. All right, so we're talking about what right here? It says soil. Y'all, what's the good of the soil? What grows out of the soil? All right, you talking about fruits and you talking about grains of the earth. If you be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. Trip off this. Verse 20. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Most High have spoken it. All right. So, y'all, those are two prophets right there who are clearly against what was going on in their day concerning sacrifices and the killing of animals for the sake of sin offerings, and even, y'all, for the sake of chewing on them, chewing on dead animal flesh. All right. Now, what the brothers is going to bring out is this. Well, we got Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. Right. All right. So my question to anybody, because we read there are laws written against us, right? And then we read where he gave us laws that we should not live by. We did.
Yeah. And the witness to that, Mal, I didn't stop you. The witness to that is Zechariah. Zechariah 11, verses 10 and 11. That's the witness to Ezekiel 20. Zechariah 11, verse 10 and 11.
Let's read that real quick, and then we go to Psalm 78. Let's read that real quick. Something else to add to the arsenal.
Yes, sir. That is the witness right there.
Zechariah 11, 10 and 11. All right. And then we're going to deal with the Isaiah 11, the dietary law, everybody. You know what I mean? What they call the dietary law. Okay. We're going to deal with that. Zechariah 11, verse 10 and 11.
Yes, sir.
And I took my staff, even beauty, and cut it in half, that I might break my covenant, which I made with all the people. And it was broken in that day.
It was broken in the day of Zechariah. It was broken. God said, oh, that's it. I'm through. I'm done with y'all. I can't take it no more. It's broken. It's done. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So the poor of the flock that waited upon me knew that it was the word of the Most High.
Zechariah said when God broke the Mosaic covenant, he knew it came from the word of God. And we know God's not a liar. He's not a liar. We know that.
No, he's not a liar, and he cannot change. And he won't change. You know what I mean? That's one thing everybody got to get through their heads. Okay? Psalm 78. Psalm 78. I'm going to start at verse 17. For y'all didn't know, I'm going to blow it up a little bit. Yehuda, if you can read it for me. Or Qanath, if you can read it for me, that's all good.
I read it for you. Where you at?
Psalm 78. We're going to start at 17. We're going to read down to 32. And y'all.
Okay, matter of fact, hold on a second. Let me go in the book, then I can really see it.
Okay. And y'all, I'm going here. The reason I'm going here is to deal with what everybody called the dietary law of Isaiah 11 and Deuteronomy 14. Okay. My question to everybody in the chat is quail. Is quail based off what we're reading in Isaiah 11 and Deuteronomy 14? Is quail considered clean flesh? Quail.
You said verse 18 and 19?
I got it, cool. Now I read it for him.
We're going to read 17 on down to 32, but I got a question real quick.
Go ahead.
For anybody that's listening. Quail, right? We all know what quail is, right?
Right.
Is quail, according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, is that considered clean flesh to eat on?
My guess would be the quail, right? That's mentioned. What book again, Mally?
In Leviticus, in the dietary law. You know,
the
Leviticus
dietary 11, law, right?
Deuteronomy 14, quail.
Yeah. I'm gonna take. My guess would be no.
Okay. Well, a lot of people, but I'm gonna help you out real quick. It is quail. Quail is clean flesh according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14.
Okay, well, I stand corrected. I was wrong.
No, it's all good. You know what I mean? I just want everybody to understand that. Okay?
Yeah.
Quail is clean according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. Keep that in mind as we read what we're about to read. Okay? Psalm 78. Let's read 17 down to like 30. All right, let's get it down.
Psalm 78, verse 17. And they sinned yet more against me. Let me start over. And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. And they tempted God in their heart by asking meat for their lust.
Now trip off that. We were in the wilderness. We left Egypt. The Most High was raining down manna on us, angels' food, right?
Mm-hmm.
We even had our flocks. Okay? The people start saying, we want flesh. We want flesh.
Right.
My question is this. That's in Numbers, the 11th chapter. My question is this. If it's all good to kill your flock and chew on them, why they didn't just kill their own flock in the wilderness and eat that? They asked for flesh so much that the Most High started raining down quail. Quail, according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, y'all, is clean flesh. And we read right here that they were sinning by doing this. Asking meat for their lust. The next thing a brother gonna say, well, that's because they was lusting. Well, bro, what you think you doing? If you're not bringing sacrifices to the altar anymore, what do you call this? Watch this. Verse 19.
Verse 19. It says, yeah, they spake against God. They said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Verse 20. Behold, he smote the rock, that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. And can he give bread also? Can he provide fish? Can he provide flesh for his people?
Right.
Again, can he provide flesh for his people?
Right. But they got flocks at the time, Isaiah, Yehuda.
Right. Verse 21.
Go ahead.
Therefore, the Lord heard this and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, meaning all 12 tribes, and anger also came up against Israel, right? Verse 22, because they believed not in God and trusted not in his salvation. Verse 23, though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven and had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of heaven. Verse 25, man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full, right? To the full.
True meat is not flesh. True meat is Genesis 1 and 29. That's meat according to the Bible. All right, go ahead.
Verse 26, he caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh upon, let me start at verse 27. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea. And he let it fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitations. So they did eat, and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire. Verse 30, they were not estranged from their lust, but while they meat was yet in their mouths. One more time, verse 30. They were not estranged from their lust, but while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of God came upon them and slew the fattest of them. The fattest of them. I hope you guys listen to ISUPK. And slew the fattest of them and smote them, the chosen men of Israel. Continue.
That's it right there. All right. So I wanted to show that the Most High gave us, according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, clean flesh. Right. And this clean flesh still plagued us, brought diseases, and eventually it killed us. So the reason honor and humility is coming forth in this hour and challenging our people to put down the flesh, put down the strong drink, and stop smoking is because it's time for us to choose life, y'all. And that even has to do with what we put in our mouths. Yes, Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 is in there, but that's written as a witness against you.
Right, that's true.
That's written as a witness against you. That's not for you.
But you know what got me in verse 31 when it says he slew the fattest of them, Qanath. He slew the fattest of them. That means that was eating, boy.
Yeah. And as you read Numbers 11, it say that the Most High made us eat that for 30 days till it came out our nostrils.
Hold on. I'm sorry. we like the smoke on this channel, but the comments, certain things, I'm not, because I'm sick and tired of people come on the comment board and disrespect it.
Right.
You know, I'm not on this channel no more. I'm not going to have that, man. Certain things we used to let go through because having fun, but certain things y'all send on comment board, I'm not going to tolerate it. You know, you can't keep respectful that we're just going to kick you off. You know, I'm not even going to put you in timeout. You know, if you disagree, the brother agreed when he finished, you can actually come on and have a respectful question. He would give an answer, and that's it. And I can do that. You know, but if we're going to stay rude, then this is grown men here. And we don't have to agree, right? I'm not taking side. I'm not taking no side either way. Okay, this is just me. I'm listening. I got an ear. I'm listening.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So have an ear. You disagree, then you disagree, and then you can ask a question later. But the other stuff, we're not talking. We grown folks here. That's our problem as black people. Instead of just hearing each other out, we was ready to duke it out.
Yeah,
you know?
And you know what? And that's the thing. We can disagree as men. It's okay.
Right.
It's all right, man. Like, it's no big deal for it. And look, what you're gonna realize is this: there ain't a man on this earth that you agree with 1,000%.
That's right.
You naturally see things different. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. So look, if anybody can just pay attention to what we're saying, because I seen somebody on the comment board talking about we coming against the Bible. Player, we've been reading the Bible the whole time. You know what I mean? We're reading the Bible the whole time. The thing is this. All right, Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 was given to us in the wilderness, just like the quail was given to us in the wilderness. The quail, according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, if you subscribe to that, is clean flesh. Okay, well, that's one example of clean flesh being allowed and given by the Almighty, but it still what? Plagued us, and it still caused us our death. All right, we started this out showing that there's two paths. There are two Torahs, y'all. There's an eternal Torah, written with the finger of the Most High, placed on the inside of the Ark of the Covenant, that covenant that you broke. All right, the new covenant is all about those laws written with his finger being written on your heart and your mind, that no man would teach you. Then there's other laws written by Moses, placed beside the Ark of the Covenant, written as a witness against you for rebellion. So when I come out and say everything in the Torah is not written for you, it's because that's what it says. You know what I mean? There are laws that you were given that you should not live by. There are laws that you were given that are not good. You know what I mean? And we can go into it. We can show laws to where if a man see a virgin and he got the right to kidnap her, force his way on her, you understand? Then throw her father 50 shekels of silver. And he can't put her away all his life. Y'all, you think those are the laws that Christ came and died for?
Exactly.
You think that's the covenant? Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 are written as a witness against you. Though they were given to you in the wilderness, just like with the quail. The eternal dietary law or the eternal liberty law, y'all, is Genesis 1 and 29. And what we're saying is this. We have the testimonies of people putting away flesh, subscribing to Genesis 1:29, because I don't like saying vegan. With these titles come different doctrines. I'm not a vegan. Genesis 1:29 is what we subscribe to, right? And we see people without even taking herbs, whole diseases being reversed. If you know anything about dialysis, y'all, that's almost a death sentence. Kidney failure, diabetes, that's almost a death sentence. So we see even today in man's fallen state, when they subscribe to what the Most High gave in the beginning, when we were in glorified bodies, that it still can benefit what we have today. The flesh pots is not healthy for you. There ain't nothing out there that's going to tell you that chewing on dead animal flesh is healthy for you. It's not. Drinking strong drink, even though you have a permission to do it in Deuteronomy 14:26, is not good for you. It's killing you. So all we saying, y'all, everything we teaching, there's no sin involved. And we are challenging our people, not commanding them, because we can't command nobody. Challenging our people to put down what's poisoning you, dedicate these vessels back to the Most High. You understand? So you can harness his eternal spirit and get out here and do the works that Messiah said that you would be doing. You understand? His works and even greater works. All right. With that, I relinquish the mic. We can open it up for questions. You know what I mean? Give me one question at a time, though. I ain't dealing with the bombard. Just give me one question at a time.
Right. And let me say this: we're not going to deal with foolish questions, man. You know,
Right.
I got maybe one or two, and then Sham, you could put or leave. Somebody put the link in the building. You can come on, and I would say if you disagree, just keep your questions short and be respectful, and you can have a general dialogue until the brother say, "Okay, I'm done." All right. But okay, the question I have, and I think you may address part of it, where the scripture speaks on what we can eat and what we cannot eat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first part. And the second part of that question: did not Christ eat fish? Did Christ eat fish? And
when he resurrected
at the
Sea of Galilee. At the Sea of Galilee. Okay.
That's my two questions.
So look, excellent question. Y'all see that? That's what we talking about. You know what I mean? And again, we not ducking anything. Okay. Now, Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14 states what you can eat and what you can't eat. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it does, right? The reason I went to Psalm 78 and referred it back to Numbers 11 with the quail is because quail is something on that list that you can eat. Okay. Now, the quail was given to you for your rebellion. It was not a good look. You know what I mean? Most people eat chicken today because they say chicken come from quail. And the Israelites ate quail in the wilderness. But when he gave us the quail, it was to plague us, disease us, and to kill us. All right.
Hey, Mally, guess what? Guess what the Jews here in New York sacrifice? They use chickens.
They're using chickens. I'm pretty sure they do. You know what I mean? So the first part of your question, even though it's in there that you can eat this and you cannot eat that, right? We see him giving us something that he allowed us to eat, but it still brought diseases and it still brought death. All right. Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 was given in the wilderness, just like the quail was given in the wilderness. All right. So again, we see time and time in the scripture where the Most High will say, will give you over to what? Your own lust. He will give you over to a strong illusion. All right. At times he tell you, well, go serve your idols then. Everyone who has set up an idol in his heart. All right. He even tell you in Deuteronomy 14:26, you can drink strong drink. My thing is this, even though you have a permission to do certain things, don't mean that these things are expedient for you. All right. And today, being that knowledge has increased, we know that the flesh, the liquor, and the smoke is killing us. You understand? Look, knowledge didn't increase so much. Knowledge didn't increase so much that we can look down into the cell of any organism. We can even measure the pH level of our blood now. That's how much knowledge has increased. What about this? Even Messiah said, "Blessed are your eyes," talking to his disciples, because many wise men and prophets have desired to see the things that you see and have not seen them. Meaning the prophets could see further and understand further than the prophets before them. How much more in our day when we can look down into the cell of an organism and all that. So once you understand what's killing you, even though you got an allowance or permission to do it, at what point do you say, nah, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna put that aside and do what I know is right. You know what I mean? So yeah, you got Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 in there. You know what I mean? Of what you can and what you cannot eat. You know what I mean? I went to Psalm 78 and Leviticus 11. Psalm 78 and referred it to Numbers 11 to show quail is something you can eat too. Quail was given, you still were diseased, and you still were killed. You know what I mean? All right, your second question is about the Messiah eating fish after he resurrected, right? Now, if you search the entire Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you don't got the Messiah eating flesh at no point in his life when he was in the flesh. Even at the Passover, there's not a lamb at the Passover at all. All right. Now,
okay.
when you get to the resurrection, we got in Luke that he ate fish. All right. So this is what I would have any brother do. Examine the resurrection account in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and see if they harmonize. See if they line up in sequential order. All right. Now, what I can do, I can go to what I can do is go to an older gospel, you know what I mean, and show based off an older gospel what he actually ate at the Sea of Galilee after he resurrected. If you want, I can show you that out. You know what I mean? But before, but trip off this.
If you go ahead, if you had the time.
Okay, now trip off this though. All anybody got to do to raise question about if he ate fish after he resurrected is just to compare the resurrection accounts in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and see if they harmonize and line up. And what you're gonna find out is, no, they don't line up. You know what I mean? They're different stories. Okay. Now, in the Gospel of the Holy 12, in which my brother Isaiah Yehuda went into, I seen you go into this last year when he was talking about how the disciples all was from different tribes.
That's a fact.
You know
all the disciples came from different tribes. That's why there's 12 disciples.
Yeah.
That's why Christ said they're gonna judge all 12 tribes. They was all from different tribes.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is go to the Gospel of the Holy 12 real quick. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. All right. Now this right here is an older, like it's actually, if you do your research, it's an older version of the Gospels. It's older than what we have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. A lot of people don't like to hear that. You know, it's all good, man. You know what I mean? That don't make me your enemy. That don't mean I don't believe in Messiah. You know what I mean? But it's wild how an older account of what happened at the Sea of Galilee after his resurrection is different than what we read in Luke about him eating a piece of fish, even though we don't got him eating any flesh at all during his life in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All right. So let me show that real quick. All right, I'm gonna go to the Gospel of the Holy 12. My brother Yehuda actually, you know what I mean, brought this out. I seen last year he brought it out. Let me share my screen real quick. I'll show y'all what I'm talking about. And I know some of you Negroes mad. It's all good, man. Relax. All right. Relax. Let me go.
Tim, hold on, Mally, real quick, Mally. Hold on a second. Tim, Jonathan. Y'all have questions, right? Because if you do, I'll leave y'all on.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? Y'all got questions, right? Before he finishes, do you have questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one thing.
Hold on.
Don't ask right now. Don't ask now. Don't ask now.
Yeah.
Just hold. Okay, go ahead, Pally.
Yeah, hey, brothers, it's all good. Just let me answer one question at a time. I got y'all. It's all good. All right. Let me know if y'all can see that. I want to read a little bit of this, and then I want to go to what happened at the Sea of Galilee. All right. Let me know if y'all can see that.
Wait,
I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, we can see it. You can blow it up a little bit.
Okay, got you.
And one day, man, you got to give me and Qanath you got to tutor Qanath one day, man, because we computer illiterate over here, man.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Go ahead, Doc, you got it.
Okay, this right here is the gospel origins of the Gospel of the Holy 12. Let me know if y'all can see that. I'm gonna read a little bit of this, and then we're gonna get over to the Sea of Galilee. All right. This gospel record is the recovered document from which the four gospels, as we have them today, were built upon. Read that again. This gospel record is the recovered document from which the four gospels, as we have them today, were built upon. Excuse me. It was the first formulated life of the Messiah and was written by St. John about the year 70 AD when he was in prison in Rome and given page by page to one he could trust. This is John, the one who wrote Revelation, the Gospel of John, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. This John right here, okay? This record right here, the earliest record of Christ, was written by John the Apostle. All right? When the scroll was completed and after its contents had been made known to the apostles, it was taken to Tibet by the same disciple who left it in the care of an unnamed lama. Here it remained until a friar named Placidus visited the monastery in the 1870s and asked if he might show it to the church authorities in Rome. Trip off that. Now, some people say, that's in Tibet. You going off. Well, y'all, where all your records come out? They come out the Vatican in Rome, the catacombs in Rome. You know what I mean? So just because it was in Tibet but then you getting Dead Sea Scrolls and different extra biblical books, and they all coming out of the catacombs in Rome. You know what I mean? Don't come off as a hypocrite. All right. I'm gonna jump down to this. It says the reason this gospel contains I'm gonna read it. The scroll was given to him, and on the way home, which took a long time, he translated a portion of it into Latin, and on his arrival in Rome, read it to the assembled cardinals. At first, they were impressed, but as he proceeded to reveal the contents, they realized that to make it known would discredit the church, which had, during the Council of Nicaea, eliminated from the Gospels the master's teachings about the love and care of animals and about abstaining from eating flesh foods. And so the scroll was hidden away in the archives of the Vatican, where it remains to this day. The reason this gospel contains much that is in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is because there were many gospels written about this time containing the true teaching of the Messiah, but this was the only one that escaped the pen of the correctors because they did not know of its existence. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump on down to page chapter 13, chapter 89, about what happened at the Sea of Galilee, Qanath, and that'll end your question. All right, brother. I'm gonna jump on down. 1 second, real quick, and then we can get to the next brothers. It's all good, y'all. Let's get her done. All right, we're going to chapter 89. All right, y'all bear with me 1 second, and then we can take the next question. It's all good. Yeah, all you got to do, I could just, line up Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John when it comes to the resurrection. Then you be like, well, some conflicting her. All right, just like with the story of Judas Iscariot. You know what I mean? It's 2 deaths of Judas in the Bible. 2 deaths of Judas. You know what I mean? The one say he gave the money back, you dig, and he went out and hung himself, or went out and fell headlong down and his guts bust out. And the next one said he bought the potter's field with the money that he gave back and then hung himself.
1:16. All right.
Hold on. I don't know who's talking, but mute your mic, please.
All right, here, chapter 89. Let me know if y'all can see that.
Go ahead. Yep.
Y'all can see that?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, Messiah appears at the Sea of Tiberias. Tiberias, y'all, is another name for the Sea of Galilee. All right. After these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias. And on this wise showed he himself. There were together Simon, Peter, and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and James and John and 2 other of his disciples. And Peter said unto him, I go a fishing. They say unto him, we also go with thee. They went forth and entered into a ship immediately. And that night they caught nothing. And when the morning was now come, Yeshua stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Messiah. The Messiah said unto them, children, have ye any meat? They answered, nay, Lord, not enough for all. There is naught but a small loaf, a little oil, and a few dried fruits. And he said unto them, let these suffice. Come and dine. Come and dine. According to the oldest record of Messiah's life, y'all, it was a small loaf, a little oil, a few dried fruits. And he said, yeah, that's good enough. Let's eat. All right. So I wanted to show that, just to show, like, you know what I mean? Even in the oldest record of his life, even after his resurrection, it don't line up with what it is that we read in the book of Luke. But all you had to do was just read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and line them up and see if it actually, you know what I mean, lines up and harmonizes. All right. And if it don't, then you got to question, okay, did he eat that? Or where was he after he resurrected? Did he go right to Galilee? Was he in Jerusalem? All these things. All right.
Okay.
So,
all right. Thanks for the answer, brother.
No doubt.
Since you spoke up first on the comment board, John Ezra, go ahead, brother. Ask your question.
Yes, sir. All right, Brew. You said Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14.
Yes, can you show your face if possible? If possible, can you show your face?
real quick, because I'm at the crib right now. All my babies.
It's all right. Go ahead. Go.
Jesus here.
I got you.
Hallelujah.
Right.
Shalom, shalom to you, brother. Blessings to you.
All right. So Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. How come those are the only ones that was written against us as far as our I don't know the term that you use, rebellion, for our rebellion, right? How come it was just Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14? What's something like Leviticus 15? The laws of cleanliness, personal cleanliness. How come those laws wasn't like what the laws that were written against us? How much laws do they encompass? Is it just Leviticus 11 when it's talking about meat, or
no,
what?
No, it's not. The laws that are written against you directly go against the eternal law of the Most High, or what's called the Ten Commandments. You know what I mean? There's plenty of
Where
laws.
in the Ten Commandments does it say I can't eat meat?
It says thou shalt not kill, which is murder, shedding of innocent blood.
Then why designate clean and unclean meats for me? Why say you can eat this meat and cannot eat that meat, and not just say, man, don't eat no meat at all?
Right. Well, I mean, that's the endeavor to know the mind of the Most High. What I showed was the actual quail that was given that you can eat, that end up being disease for you, and also end up causing our people death.
I actually disagree that the quail was disease for me, or excuse me, I disagree that the quail was disease for those people. Okay. The lust was their disease. The lust got them killed, because other people ate and didn't get killed. It was the ones who lusted, who ate, whilst the flesh was in between their teeth that ate. They got killed. It wasn't everybody who ate of the meat. And also,
I didn't say everybody that ate died. I'm saying that the Most High allowed clean flesh, according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, to be consumed, and our people became diseased behind it. That's what a plague is, and then they also died behind it. That's
once again, they died behind their lust, and the Bible is clear. The Bible is clear that it was their lust that caused that. That caused that.
Let me show you the lust. Can
I finish what I was saying real quick? They wasn't even lusting for quail. They was lusting for fish and cucumbers and leeks. And what's up with that?
Right, but
they wasn't lusting for quail, right? So if it was an issue of I'm gonna give you something that you're lusting for that's gonna kill you, then I'm gonna give you exactly what you asked for that's gonna kill you, no?
Right, but they end up getting. Let them answer. Yeah, but look, they end up getting clean flesh according to what we call the dietary law, even though they had clean flesh as cattle. And that in itself, and look, they ate it till it came out of their nose, and that in itself caused sickness and it caused death.
That's being gluttonous, which is a sin. Right, and the gluttony and their lust. Once again, that's your lust. That's their lust, because they was.
I want to show.
Let him. Hold on, John. You said that.
I apologize. I'm gonna stop.
Okay, I'm gonna let you continue. No, I'm gonna let you continue. But you said about that's the lust in the midst of the vegetables. So we heard it. So let him answer.
I want to show Qanath. I want to show the lust for the brother so he can see. Because if we're not sacrificing animals at all for the remission of our sins at all, then the only reason that you are even killing animals or chewing on the dead flesh of animals would be for your lust. I want to show you the lust. This right here is called the U.S. 2021 U.S. This right here is called the U.S. 2021 Animal Kill Clock. Can y'all see that? Nah, let me scroll down. And y'all, it's just now the end of June. 27 billion in the United States alone animals have been slain since January 1st, 2021. What's fueling the multi-trillion dollar industry, the slaughterhouse industry, is your lust. Let me show you this. Annual U.S. animal deaths. Look at that to the left, y'all. Chicken. What your quail comes from. Over 8 billion chickens in the United States alone since January the 1st have been slaughtered because people want to chew on them. 8 billion. Y'all, it ain't 8 billion people in this earth. And don't nobody eat chicken like us Hebrews. The Hebrews have eaten more chicken in the United States than there are people in this earth since January. Brother, if this ain't lust, what do you call this?
I don't even see your point, fam. I'm talking about the people in the Bible who were lusting for fish and leek coming out of Egypt, and they got quail. You said it's a clean meat that killed them. And I'm telling you, it wasn't the clean meat, it was the lust. And you're telling me about some an animal kill clock about what's going on right now. And that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It don't have
I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on and ask you a different question about Yeshua eating fish. Can we read Mark 12, 14 and 12? Or are we just talking about Yeshua eating fish before he died or after his resurrection? What are we saying? You said
now, hold on. Before you, wait a minute. I want you to ask your question, then I'm gonna click you on so you can answer it. But go ahead, ask your question, then I'm gonna let you.
Asked about
I'm trying to just get my question out as clear as I can, and when I stop, then you can answer. I'm not trying to overtalk you or nothing, none of that. Right. I just don't want you to start answering my question before I get the whole question out. So if you could let me get my whole question out, I will literally stop and give you the whole floor to answer the question.
Okay, no doubt, bro.
You said, I'm asking you, you're saying Yeshua never ate fish in the entire Bible. Is that correct? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, he ain't never eaten no fish.
No, I said he didn't eat lamb. He didn't eat lamb in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John for the Passover. Okay.
So he just sat at the table while the lamb was prepared and just let all of the other disciples eat and was like, it's cool.
No, this is what it is. There's always been those in our history who subscribe to Genesis 1:29. So they didn't keep Passover the same way as everybody else. So Messiah himself didn't eat the flesh. They didn't eat the lamb.
In Luke in Mark 14 and 12, it say that they just freshly killed the Passover and say, yo, where we gonna eat this at? Okay, can we read that? Can you read that can I read it?
Yes, you can.
If you don't mind.
Yes, you can.
All right. Just get there real quick. I had it on another page. Let's see, I got it right here. Say 14 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
Say, and the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, where wilt thou that we go and prepare that thou mayest eat the Passover that we this lamb that we just killed? Where are we gonna eat this lamb at?
No,
also in 22 and 8, in Luke 22 and 8, and Matthew 26 and 17 say the same thing.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, let me answer. Yo, our people.
I'm about to let you go now, brother. Hold on, Malaki. I'm about to let you go ahead and go, brother. I gave you plenty. I gave you like 2-3 questions. You got other people want to ask questions. So thanks, man. I hope
no doubt.
You feel like
hey, shalom to you, brother. Blessings to you. Yeah. So look, our people. We're not saying that our people are not eating lamb. What I'm saying is the Messiah and his disciples were not eating the flesh or the lamb for Passover. That's what we're saying. Yeah, the first day of unleavened bread, many lambs were being slain. But as you keep reading, you never read about them eating lamb.
I'm sorry, bro. 14 and 12 literally said we finna go eat this. Where are we gonna eat it at? We just
I don't want to kick you off. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
All right, but look,
okay, what you can do, go ahead and leave because I got to bring people back in. You know, I don't want to move you off. Just go ahead and leave the room. I appreciate it.
Look,
thanks for coming on and asking questions.
But if when you read that, you don't read him ever eating lamb. It says when the lamb, first day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. Then they go on to say, where will you have us prepare the Passover? You understand? Well, our people are not understanding is there were various sects of Israelites, and all of them did not keep Passover the same way. All right, there were those of our people who subscribed to Genesis 1:29. You feel me? And how does somebody who subscribed to Genesis 1:29 chew on flesh? They don't. Romans 14, even Paul said, those that eat of herbs are weak. If you believe that. Romans 15, he talk about those that eat herbs. All right, so there were people who only ate the herbs. They did not eat, you know what I mean? They did not eat the flesh, even when it came to feast days. Now, I can actually show that if you allow me to bring that up real quick. It's a real quick, you know what I mean? And then we can get off to the next
All right,
one.
go ahead, because I want everybody to get a chance to get their question. Go ahead. I mean,
I propose to say that what the scripture the brother brought up never said that he ate lamb. It just
let me say this real quick. Hold on.
It just acknowledged that
I want to get
lambs.
to hey, Mally, I want to get to the next question because you already answered that. You know, you already answered that. And if people go back and look at our class we done, if you read the scriptures very carefully, Christ didn't eat the Passover.
Exactly.
Right? He didn't eat the Passover. He wished he could have, you know, but he didn't. But that's another class. So Zealot, hey man, I want you to come on. They put the link in the room, so brother. I definitely want you to come on. So next brother up is Truth Seeker, then Israel Freeman. Truth Seeker, can you show your face real quick?
Hey Elder, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead. Truth Seeker, go ahead, brother.
Nah, Elder, this is Yehoshua.
Now, I asked people to show their face so the brother can see who's actually talking to. But go ahead,
Hey, Hebrew Yehoshua, what up?
Go ahead, brother.
Shalom, brother Mally, man. How you doing, my brother?
What's the deal? Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Hey,
it's Truth Seeker question first, though. It's Truth Seeker question first. Then Yehoshua, then you go. Go ahead, Truth Seeker.
Okay.
We can't hear you, brother. Truth Seeker, you're on.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, brother.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank the brother because a lot of people haven't got that far to knowing that some laws are for against you, the book of the law, and some laws are put inside, right? So I want to thank him for that. But one thing I think he's missing, and is the Yah said to be set apart, right? My desire is for you to be set apart. So if you read 1 Peter 1:16, he tells you, for somewhere is written to be set apart as I am set apart. Now, if you go back to Leviticus 11 and 47, I think it's 44 to 47, it tells you this is how you set yourself apart, right? And if you read, I think it's the Leviticus 20 and I think it's the last verse. It tells you again twice. This is how you set yourself apart. And if you read Thessalonians, I think it's 2 Thessalonians 4, it tells you this is how you set yourself apart bodily, right? So the dietary laws and the sexual laws are how you set yourself apart bodily, right? So what I'm saying is,
you have a question, brother? You got a question? I hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
You set that up.
Yeah. My question would be, why is Genesis 1:29, right? Why is that? Why is that our law going forward, right? Why is that our law going forward? And why did he give you other dietary laws after, just to take them away and say we're not supposed to eat that? That's my question.
Okay. The way I would answer that, brother, is the Most High God, Malachi 3:6, he doesn't change. All right. What he gave us in the beginning, we see the same thing going down to Revelation, the 22nd chapter. The tree of life yields 12 manners of fruits every month, and the leaves of the trees is for the healing of the nation. If you jump back to Isaiah 11, Isaiah sees the same viewpoint of the kingdom. And he talks about how lions won't even be chewing flesh anymore. Lions, every beast of the field will be back on Genesis 1:30. You know what I mean? When they'll be eating herbs, the lion shall eat straw like the bullock and all that. You know what I mean? So the way we answer that is to boldly say that the Most High doesn't change. You know what I mean? And that even includes what he has ordained for us to put down our throats. You know what I mean? Leviticus 11, it does say, be ye holy as your father is holy, or set apart, as you say, Kodesh. Peter says the same thing, Kodesh. You understand? But I would propose to set your body apart and be holy would be to subscribe to that which was in the beginning and that which will be in the end. You know what I mean? And you don't got to wait to the end to start that. And we actually are seeing the actual healings going forth when people jump on that right now. You know what I mean? Look, Israel sick, man. It's a lot of brothers and sisters that are actually sick and are being healed and delivered from diseases that doctors say you can't be healed from. All by going back to Genesis 1:29, so we can observe it and we can test it and we can see that must be righteous. All right. Then we can look into the animal diet or the animal flesh and we can see what it's causing. And look, this is all purportedly clean animal flesh.
Well,
So that's how I would answer that, brother. Most High don't change. What he got in the beginning is what will be for us in the end. And when we put it to use right now, we're seeing healings going forth. Look, whether it's labeled organic or not, you know what I mean? Them fruits are still, the fruits and the grains of the earth are still electrifying people's body and blood, and people are being delivered from all type of sicknesses right now.
Okay, y'all, are you finished? I want to interrupt you.
Absolutely, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. So, two things I want to say. First of all, if you read Romans 14, it tells you, a brother who eats just veggies are weak in belief. Right. That's right. Number one. Number two is, I agree with you with eating meat. You know that it's hurting us. The reason why is not because of the meat; it's because of what they're putting in the meat and how they're raising these animals.
Okay.
Right. So it's the same thing with the veggies. They're starting to a lot of chemicals. So it doesn't matter what you put in, either veggies or meat, it's still destroying you because the food is not real. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I want to say, and I appreciate y'all and thank you.
Hey, I feel that. I feel that, brother. I feel that. My only rebuttal to that would be that even though we got out there that Monsanto is putting out their GMO seeds and people are getting fake veggies and fruits, what's not even labeled organic, y'all, is still getting people off dialysis. People still get the diabetes is still being reversed. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I heard it based off what they're doing in these slaughterhouses. Yes, what they're putting in the meat. Absolutely. We all know the Rabbi Finkelsteins of the earth control the slaughterhouses. They told you they was actually putting human flesh and mingling them with animal flesh back like 10 years ago. So I understand that, brother. No doubt.
I agree with you. The herbs are for the healing. So you have to stop. You have to stop eating meat. You know what I'm saying? So your body can process or take out all that's in it, so it can clean itself. So the veggies are light. You know what I mean? So you can clean itself. So that's why you have to stop eating meat for a while, so all the processing can come out of you. That's what I agree with. You see what I'm saying? Okay. But you know, I don't want to hold y'all up.
All right, thanks, bro. I'm sorry to come up. Yeah.
All right,
thanks, brother. I'm glad you came over.
Thanks a lot, brother.
All right.
All right. One more second, your host, Joseph. Israel Freeman, you're up next, bro. Israel Freeman, you're up next. Israel Freeman, you're up next, brother. You're up next.
Qanath, you looking like you tired over there, little taste, brother. You all right?
Oh, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm listening. I like to listen, man. That's how I learn.
What did Hebrew Shawsham, man? What do you got going on? I ain't seen Mark in a minute.
He's in Carolina right now, man. He's on vacation. He'll be back tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, Israel Freeman.
Yes, my bad. I was trying to get my mic unmuted. It's unmuted now. All right, I got it. All right,
go ahead, bro. What's your question?
All right, and I heard you mention that Paul said a person only eats herbs. So let me ask you: do you believe in the Apostle Paul's writings?
I take them with a grain of salt. I take them with a grain of salt, and this is why, because sometimes he tell you he speak as a man. Sometimes without him telling you he's speaking as a man, he speak as a man. For instance, when he say he that eateth herbs is weak, I mean that don't make sense to me, because that will make Adam weak, and that will make the Most High weak, who prescribed it to Adam. You know what I mean? So if he's speaking according to law, then that's what's up. But I mean, if he's speaking anything that's opinionated, then I just like with any man, I take it with a grain of salt out.
So do you believe he wrote scriptures?
He wrote letters. He wrote 80% of the New Testament.
Do you believe his writings are scriptures?
I believe his writings are letters commentating on scriptures. The
Yeah, well, Peter called his words scriptures,
right?
And he said those that are unlearned and ignorant wrestle with his words when they don't understand them.
Right. Well, look, brother,
So what I've heard you do so far is cast dispersion on the writings of Paul. You've cast dispersion on the 4 Gospels. You've cast dispersion on the Old Testament, saying that there was a law that you can go and just force a woman. That's totally misinterpreted. And then you're discounting when Paul is giving scriptures and not saying he's speaking as a man. And he did not say the man was weak. He was saying he was weak in his faith.
Right.
His faith was weak. And he said we ought to acquiesce to that person of weak faith. Right. Then he explained every creature of God, the ones of God that are prescribed of God, is clean and nothing to be refused if it be received in faith.
Okay. All right. You got that out, John. Freeman. So go ahead with your question.
Look, I understand that. I don't know nobody online who defended Paul more than me. I got plenty of classes going back over 16 years defending Paul. I'm saying everything he's saying is not law. For instance, whatsoever is sold in the shambles, eat it and don't ask no questions. What laws he quote?
He was letting them know that it's not a sin to eat things sacrificed to idols if you don't know that it's sacrificed to idols. It's not. It said the idol itself is nothing.
Wow.
So it's not like you gotta wonder, was this sacrificed to an idol? Because that idol could possibly be in this meat. Because the idol was nothing.
Say it again. He said, if you eat meat sacrificed to an idol and you don't know it, is not a sin. But the leader over the new covenant in Jerusalem told him to teach opposite of that. Why he ain't teaching?
Who told him to teach opposite?
James the Just, the brother of the Messiah. The leader of the new covenant after the Messiah resurrected was James the Just, not Paul.
That he was saying. He also said that if someone tells you that it's sacrificed unto an idol, the only time you're committing the sin of eating a meat sacrificed to an idol if someone tells you.
Look, let me help you out with something. James commanded Paul in Acts 15, verse 13 through 20, command them Gentiles to abstain from blood, fornication, things strangled, and pollutions of idols.
Yes.
Paul says you have liberty to eat meat sacrificed to an idol as long as the person that's eating the meat don't know that they eating the meat sacrificed to an idol. That's 1 Corinthians the 8th chapter.
But now you're adding that Paul said you have liberty to eat things. He said you do not have liberty to eat things sacrificed to idols. He was explaining that you're only committing the sin of eating things sacrificed to idols if you know it. If you know it, if somebody says it's sacrificed to idols, now you're partaking of that sin. So he was just further explaining because an idol is nothing.
The authority over the new covenant tell them Gentiles to abstain from pollutions of idols.
That's what he did.
Stay away from things strangled. You can't.
That's what he did.
You can't strangle a plant, brother. You can only strangle flesh and stay away from blood.
He didn't. Now there you go. He's not saying anything that could possibly be strangled. It's a certain way that we were to kill our animals. We were not to eat anything that died of itself or anything that was strangled. You would do more service to talk about the fact that we're eating blood. We're eating things strangled.
Hold on. We're not getting nowhere. Let's
you buying it out of the meat markets. You don't know if it's killed or handled.
I agree with that. I agree with that. You would do better to talk about that than misinterpreting Paul's writings.
Hold on, Malachi. Israel Freeman, I let you on all the time, brother. I know you be hyped. I like when you come on. But let's get to asking him a question real quick, okay? Let's ask a question about the scripture. Y'all had a chance to dialogue. That's good now. Then let's ask the question so we can move on because other people waiting also. So we're gonna ask the question, Israel.
So how do you interpret the fact, number one, that Mashiach fed 5,000 with fishes and loaves?
Okay.
Number two, that Paul, oh my goodness. So, number two, that Paul said that these things were not forbidden, that he even called out some some people in 1 Timothy 4:3, where 4:3, forbidding to marry, commanding to abstain from meats which God created to be received with thanksgiving of them that believe and know the truth. So you are in direct contradiction to the old,
Those are
new,
two questions.
Mashiach, Paul, everybody.
Those are
Your
two
whole
questions.
agenda is weak, man. You need not to be
Brother,
teaching.
brother, don't do that. I let you on. I'm not gonna
Everybody don't need to be teaching, man. Everybody don't need to be teaching, man.
Right.
Simple as that.
Right.
Okay.
That's true. Everybody don't need to be teaching. You know what I mean? And,
That's true too.
You know,
Go ahead and answer the question.
especially somebody that's emotional. You know what I mean? So, your first question is about Mashiach feeding the multitude with bread and fishes or fish in the desert. All right. Look, all we got to do is go back into the oldest gospel, and it'll show you that it wasn't bread and fish; it was bread and clusters of grapes. That's it. You know what I mean? Now, look, if you receive it or not, then just don't receive it. All right. Now, when you're getting into Paul, Paul was commanded to teach a certain way, and when it came to certain things, he compromised. You know what I mean? I done defended Paul more than anybody online. So, I mean, what is you saying? I understand, but there was conflict between Paul. All you gotta do is read Galatians and read the book of James. They're responding to each other. James and them are lifelong Nazarites. They never ate flesh. They never drank strong drink. You know what I mean? But you got to get into the histories to know that. And James was the biological brother of the Messiah, and he was the leader of the new covenant after the Messiah resurrected. Peter himself was the top apostle, and he had to report to James. Okay? Paul was dissing them brothers. Paul didn't come up out of nowhere and say, you know, in the last days, some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidden to marry and commanded to abstain from meats. He's talking about the leadership in Jerusalem. All you got to do is go read Galatians chapter 1 and James chapter 1. They're firing shots at each other. Certain men sent by James. When I got the revelation of Messiah, I immediately didn't even confer with flesh, nor did I go holler at those who were apostles before me. Why not? And then finally, Barnabas convinced Paul, you need to come check in with the elders, with the apostles. And that's when you get Acts 15, the Jerusalem assembly, and James stands up and gives his authority and gives his judgment on what Paul is to teach and preach. Okay? And one of the things he told him was to stay away from things strangled. You know what the Negro gonna say? Oh, that just means something that died of itself in Deuteronomy 14 and 21. You know what the problem with that is? The one problem with that is this. That meat that died of itself, you could give it to the Gentile amongst you, or you can sell it to a foreigner of a strange nation. James is saying, if that's the logic, James is saying, tell them Gentiles to abstain from that, to abstain from things strangled and from blood and from pollution of idols and from fornication. Paul got the fornication right. The other three things, the idolatry, at times he ain't go as hard. He ain't come out like shut that down. At times he compromised. When it comes down to things strangled and blood, y'all, that is flesh. And when you get into the history of James, Messiah, all them, they were lifelong Nazarenes. They never tasted flesh, no strong drink, ever. And James himself didn't get married. Messiah himself didn't have a wife. You understand? Paul didn't even have no wife. But to be in the upper echelon of the Essene movement, or the priests of the Essene movement, those men were celibate. So Paul wasn't dropping a fancy prophecy 2,000 years later and then Malachi bringing it out. And you saying it's a doctrine of the devil. How is it a doctrine of the devil to subscribe to Genesis 1:29? How is it weak in faith to subscribe to Genesis 1:29 and not flesh food when that's what Adam was on? That's what the Most High gave Adam. How is it weak in faith when the very first people on record eating flesh are the fallen ones? See, it's conflict there. It's conflict between Paul and James. It's conflict between the prophets and the priests. There's conflict in the Bible. At times it's conflict, y'all, between Moses and Aaron. And the beautiful thing about conflict, all you can do is choose which side you on. You know what I mean? And that's it. That's it. Paul tell you, the thing that I'm supposed to do, I'm not doing. And the thing that I'm not doing, that's what I'm supposed to do. Oh, wretched man that I am. James double right back and say a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Paul say anybody that come to you and bring any other gospel than that which you receive, count them cursed. James double back and say blessings and curses ain't supposed to come out the same mouth. They're responding to each other because Paul's supposed to submit himself to the leadership under what the Messiah left in charge, and he didn't do it based off his own words. And James started
why did Peter call Paul's words?
I don't want to take you right off again, brother. I let you back on.
Bro, I answered this question, man. Let's get to the next.
Good. So I let you sit on a little bit. Answer your question. So I mean, you've been a regular.
The fact that Peter calls Paul's words.
I can't do it, brother. I can't do it. I can't do it, brother. I can't. I tried, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joseph. Yeah, you get the Second Peter. He speaks of 2 Peter 3:15 through 17. I know it well, but bro, again, you got to get into your studies. You got to get into the councils that determine what was authorized and what was heretical, what was canonized and what was put out. And the majority of the Messiah's disciples' teachings were not allowed in your what's called your New Testament. 80% of the New Testament is Paul's writings. You don't think that's an agenda? That's an agenda there. Now, when you get into 2 Peter, believe it, trip off this, Qanath, for the past 1,800 years, guess what scholars have been arguing over? The validity of 2 Peter and if it really was penned by Peter or not. Look it up. It'll blow your mind.
Where you Joseph? You up?
Yo, Qanath, you're gonna stop butchering my name, man. I'm gonna come out here and handle you over.
I'm sorry, bro. That's your host, hey, look.
I mean, dang.
I be butchering mine, man. Go ahead.
Yo, shalom, brother Malaki.
Go ahead, brother. Y'all dialogue.
What's up with you? Man, blessings to you. I'll talk to you.
Yes, sir. I just want to say all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh.
That's right, brother.
And to his only begotten and beloved Son, Yeshua HaMashiach.
That's right.
Who holds all wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
That's right.
All dominion, authority, and power given to him by the Heavenly Father. Hallelujah, Yahweh.
Hallelujah, Yahweh.
Yes, sir. I just real quick, man. I just want to say, man, no love lost for the Assembly of Honor and Humility. You know, I still love y'all, man. I will make an announcement to Brother Malaki, and if Brother Nehemiah is still on the chat. I do not subscribe to the tradition that they're in as far as the Nazarene school of thought. But again, no love lost, man. They still my brothers, you know, but I do not agree to the transition that they're in right now. Brother Malaki, I do enjoy the one-on-one conversation that we had during the Passover. It was a wonderful time, man. It was a wonderful one-on-one, you know, conversation, experience, whatnot. Absolutely. And also the same goes with Brother Nehemiah, man. I enjoyed our time together, man, hanging out with each other along with Brother Darius, man. I enjoyed it, man. That was all blessings, a blissful experience, man. And yeah, man. So, but anyway, so I do have questions. I have more questions, but for the sake of time, because I gotta have tour study with the fam.
Yeah, and you got my number, so you already know. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Blessings to your family, though, man. Always that. You know what I mean? It's all love. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. One more thing, man. We're still reading the pigs of Paula, man. So far, man. Woo!
Hey, man, bro, make sure you put that into action. Hey, bro, put that into action. And then for y'all that don't know, he's talking about but when I met the brother Spirit was so powerful. I gave him a book that I had been reading called Pigs in the Parlor, and it's about spiritual warfare and actually binding demons, you know what I mean, and casting them out. You got the authority through Hamashiach and his testimony to bind up these suckers and cast them out. You can chase demons. You can declare healings.
You didn't give me one. I came down there to see you too. You didn't give me one.
I didn't have it then, bro.
What happened to my book?
I got you. Matter of fact, your host will email. Hey, when you're done with it, send it to Qanath, man. It's all good. All right, come on with your question.
Your host should have came to my house. He came to my house too. Yeah, what's your question? I'll bring it.
All right, so is it possible, Elder, is it possible that I can make a quick statement, scriptural statement real quick, and then ask my questions? Is it possible? If not, I understand because of the time frame and all that, but is it possible?
No, go ahead, brother. It's less than a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So
a minute. Go ahead.
Brother, all right, so Brother Malachi, you brought out Ezekiel chapter 20 on downs. You know, I highly disagree with that because if anyone understands the Melchizedek school of thought, everybody will understand that Ezekiel chapter 20, right, verse 20 to verse 26. Actually, verse 26 speaks of what's going on as far as the statutes and the judgments and the laws that was given against them. But if you also read Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 1 through 7, it highly speaks that the Most High gave the Israelites into their own stumbling blocks because they have idols in their heart. Along with Romans chapter 1, with the Most High, according to the historical records, he always give those to their stumbling blocks, or AKA reprobated mindset. You know what I'm saying? So, and also dealing with that, Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1 through, I would say, verse 1 through 6. One of the verses, I got it right here, but you know, for the sake of time, you know, but anyways, the prophet Moses said, man should not live by bread only, but the laws that proceed out of the mouth of the Most High Yahweh. That was the whole issue with the Israelites because of their faith, the lack of their faith, and AKA their belief and their disobedient heart. That was the reason why the Most High gave them up to their own reprobated mind and even destroyed them. When he finally give them up to their own desire, he destroyed them after that because of their disobedient heart. But that's all I want to bring out as far as my statement. So I have 4 questions, Brother Malachi. Is Apostle Paul in error in 1 Timothy chapter 4? In verse 1, he said, now the Spirit speaketh expressly. So that's saying that Paul at this point is being filled with the Ruach HaKodesh and with fire, right? Paul is prophesying verses on down when he said that those that are commanding those that will abstain from meats. Is Paul in error? That's one question.
Let me answer. Let me answer these questions at a time. To answer that, we have to go to Acts 15, verse 13 through 20, and that right there is Paul is giving orders by the bishop over all the assemblies in the Messiah to teach a certain way when it comes down to flesh, when it comes down to abstaining from pollution of idols, when it comes down to fornication. What people are not seeing is that Paul is responding. He had a problem with the leadership that was set up through Messiah and through the disciples after him, who actually had the fiery Holy Spirit that set upon them. Acts the 2nd chapter. They had the fiery tongues. They was in the upper room. They were the ones that knew Messiah before he died and after he resurrected. It was the apostles that he breathed the Ruach HaKodesh on. It is them. All right. Now, the leader over that movement is his biological brother. His name is James the Just. He wrote the book of James, and you see flashes of him in the book of Acts. All right. We got more writings on him if, brothers ever want to get into that. Maybe not right now at the time or whatever. But what you'll see Paul is responding to these brothers because these brothers never ate flesh. These brothers, certain sects of them or certain classes of them never even had women. You know what I mean? Paul was somebody that never had a woman as well. So once you can see that there's conflict between the leadership and the apostles that the Messiah set up, and Paul, who had his conversion on the way to Damascus, right? And then trip off this, his whole conversion on the road to Damascus is in Acts chapter 9, Acts chapter 22, Acts chapter 26, and Galatians 1. 4 accounts of his conversion, all right? So 4 accounts, do all them harmonize or do they conflict? Because that's his whole claim to apostleship. So if anybody had the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and I'm not saying Paul is all bad. I ain't saying that. I'm saying what you're reading, he's responding to the brothers who never had women, to the brothers who never ate flesh, and to the brothers who commanded him, hey, look, if you out there amongst them Gentiles teaching, tell them to abstain from things strangled, tell them to abstain from blood, tell them to stay away from pollutions of idols and from fornication. All right, those were his orders in Acts 15, 13 through 20. All right, he went against that. You'll see it in Galatians 1. Certain men sent from James. You know what I mean? Whoever they be, God respects no man's person. You understand? So James, what people need to understand is this: James, the brother of the Messiah, was in charge of the apostles after the Messiah resurrected. That's who was in charge. I actually can show it to you if you want me to. But if we ain't got the time right now, I can take a picture and send it to you. You know what I mean, through the text. So when you ask, was Paul in error? What I would say is Paul was going against the brothers who already was teaching and believing that. They already was against the flesh pots. Yeah, obviously they were around. You know why? Because Paul addresses them again in Romans 14. In Romans 15, it says they have weak faith. Obviously, it wasn't just one person around. Obviously their movement was big enough to even get mentioned in Paul's letters. You know what I mean? So was he in error? I would say he did not teach what he was commanded to teach by the leadership and the authority that the Messiah, the Messiah himself set up. That's what I would say.
Hey, real quick before you ask your next question, real quick, hold on tight. Karakazar, I don't want to be unfair to you because I do want my brothers to go in a little bit. So if y'all don't mind, real quick, I don't know how much time this brother got because I think I know who this may be. I just want him to go to ask one question. I don't want him to be long because I'm gonna let you finish going in with the brother because he said he got 4 questions. So y'all chopped it up and then he overstated this one question.
Let the brother do his thing.
Yeah. So this hold tight. So
and it's all good. I just, like you said, Shawshan was out there. I just got off the road. You know what I mean? I just got off the road and decided, you know what? Right. That's why I told you just push it back an hour. That way I can make sure, you know what I mean? Right. We live in effect, you know what I mean? Also, if you don't mind, I also want to leave my contact information for anybody, if that's cool.
Okay, we're gonna get that done. We're gonna get that done. Let me let this other brother get his question because he just came on. Karakazak, go ahead, brother.
Grace and peace.
Grace and peace.
Can you show your face? Most High bless. Grace and peace, brother. Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute. You are who I thought it was. Yeah, Most High bless. Yeah, it is who I thought it was. Most High bless, brother.
Yeah, grace and peace. Brother Malachi, you said that, I mean, we need to deal with this issue right here about, in Acts chapter 15, can we go there, please? Let's go to Acts chapter 15. Yeah, let's go to, I'm going to make this statement right here first, right? Because the head over the church after Christ ascended into heaven was Peter. That's what it was. That's why Christ said, Peter, if you love me, feed my sheep.
Yeah.
Because when the conversation, let me finish saying this first. When the conversation came down about they went up to the apostles in Acts chapter 15 about the question. When they went up about the question, Peter's going to make a statement right here. He's going to make a statement to show who was the most illuminated one. We're going to see right here who was in charge. Acts chapter 15, verse 5. And there rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees which believed, saying that it was needful to be circumcised and to command them to keep the law of Moses. And the apostles and elders came together for us to consider of this matter. And when there had been much disputing, Peter rose up, not James. Peter rose up and said unto them, men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago God made choice among us that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the words of the gospel and believe. So he didn't make choice with James to do it. He made choice with Peter to do it. Because Peter was not, and when you go to the book of Galatians, I'm going to go here also. So Peter's the one that spoke up here, and then James came and added, so we can understand about the authority speaking. The one that had the authority is who spoke first. Now, when you go to the book of Galatians, chapter 2.
Let me know when I can speak.
No, I'm going to let you know, bro. Okay. Hey, what I'm going to do? I'm going to take 2 minutes, and then I'm going to give you back your back to you. Okay? No, hold on a second, because this is not correct.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm going to say this right here. Galatians chapter 2, verse 6. But of them who seem to be somewhat whatsoever they were, it maketh no matter to me. God accepteth no man's person. That's written in the law. For they who seem to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me. But contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Peter. It does not say the gospel of the circumcision was unto James. The gospel of the circumcision was unto Peter. Okay. He was the head over the church. Okay, and let's be that clear. And when Judas fell by transgression, Messiah was put in as the number of the 12. So we can be clear. Those were the 12 apostles. And it is inaccurate to say in addition that, the 12 apostles were all 12 tribes. That's incorrect also. Because James and John were the sons of Zebedee. They both had the same father. So therefore that cannot be true right there. Peter and Andrew had the same father. Okay. So that can't be true either, that they were all 12 tribes. But when we're dealing with this issue right here about the apostleship of circumcision, the apostleship of the circumcision was not headed by James. According to the scripture, it was headed by Peter. That's who it was headed by. So we can start right there. And then in Ezekiel, and then Ezekiel chapter 20, the Lord said he gave them statutes that were not good. That's why then you go to Psalms chapter 81, the Lord said he gave them up to their own counsel. That's where it's at. Then he said in Acts chapter 7, he gave them up to worship the host of heaven. It's not talking about his Lord. Because Paul already said the commandment is holy and just and good. So that's inaccurate. That's not rightly dividing the word of truth. And we have to submit to the doctrine that's plain in the scriptures, man. We got to be careful with our own private interpretation because that's not it. So one part, I'm giving it to you right here. James was not over Peter because the scriptures does not say that.
Okay, bro.
Not over
All right, let me know when I can respond.
I got you. Let him respond, and then you can ask your question.
Let me know when I can respond.
I'm going to give it to you. Because we have Acts 15, we have Galatians chapter 2, we have we have Christ speaking in John chapter 21, showing you that Peter, that if you love me, feed my sheep. Here, that's where it's at. And then when his brothers and them came after even when Christ was speaking, they said, who is my brother but them to do the will of my Father? He pointed to his disciples. His family wasn't even in it yet. So go ahead, brother.
Okay. Can I respond? We all good? All right, so look, let me address this whole situation about James and Peter. Peter was the top apostle. Apostle is someone with authority sent forth. All right. James was the bishop, the leader of the movement. All right. And you see flashes of it. Before you get to Acts 15, brother, you missed. Go to Acts 12. When Peter miraculously gets let out of prison by a Malaki or an angel, who he have to go report to?
He wasn't reporting, brother. It don't say he reported.
Hey, let me finish. You
no,
ran
let
your
him
mouth.
finish, brother. Let him finish. You gotta let him finish.
Let me talk.
Malachi, I'm gonna
Bro, look, no, I let you run your mouth. I let you talk.
Brother, no, brother. You gotta let him talk.
All right, so look, let me share this. All right, and then we gonna go into Peter's writings himself. All right. And look, it ain't our fault if certain people don't subscribe to what we talking about. It's not our problem.
It ain't your
bro. Look, you gonna let me talk? That's the problem. You know what I mean? Like bro, listen to me. Look, listen to me. I know, listen to me, brother. No, listen to me. I know listen to me. I know in your channel and all that, you may be that guy. You know what I mean? That don't hold nothing over here.
We don't need that, brother.
All right, so let me talk.
I respect
no, but you
keep. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on, Mally. Hey, I let you on because I know who you are and I respect you and all that. But show some decor and respect my channel. I let you rock. You say give me 2 minutes. Nobody said nothing. You actually had a minute before that. If you agree or disagree with him, just let him finish, and then I'll let you come back. Because I respect you. I know who you are. Just let him go ahead and give you his answer, and then you can come back at it.
All right, right here. If you go to Acts 12, y'all, Acts 12 is about Peter's arrest and deliverance. Okay. Now, when you go to verse 1, I'm gonna jump down. But I'm gonna start at verse 1 and 2. Right. It says, now about that time, Herod, the king, stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. This is James, not the Messiah's brother James, but James, the brother of John. Okay. And because he saw it please the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. We all know, if you get into that word Easter, it's really talking about the Passover. Okay. All right. Now, if you know the story, Peter's in jail and then he gets let out. I'm going to jump down for time's sake. All right. All right. Right here. Verse 11. And when Peter was come to himself, he said, now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and have delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. And when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door, the gate, a damsel came to hearken, named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. And they said unto her, thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that something going off in the background. She constantly affirmed that it was even so. Then said they, it is his angel. But Peter continued knocking. And when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. But he, beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, go show these things unto James. Why is Peter being let out of prison? And it's miraculous. It's a miraculous deliverance, right? And one of the first things he got to do, he has to go report or check in with James. You may ask yourself, why James? Who is James? According to Galatians 1:19, James is the Messiah's biological brother. Also, Mark 16:1. All right, go show these things unto James and to the brethren, and he departed and went into another place. Now, since people want to understand why we keep saying James is the authority, what we are going to do, and again, it ain't our problem if everybody don't subscribe to it, but what we're going to do, let me share my screen again. I'm gonna show y'all out of Peter's own journal, his writings, the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. All right, we gonna share that for me, Qanath, if you can, brother. I'm gonna show y'all who was the leader according to Peter's own mouth. Who was the leader over the movement? Let me know if that's on there. Nazarene Acts of the Apostles.
It's on. Go ahead. You got it.
Or the recognition of Clement. Okay,
yes,
right here. Let me know if that's big enough. I want to make sure y'all can see this. All right. Yes, Peter was the top apostle. You know what I mean? But James was the bishop. Here it is right here. Y'all can see that? All right, let's rock. That says K-Phi. For y'all that don't know, K-Phi is Hebrew for Peter. K-Phi to Yaakov. All right, this is Peter's journal. Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. K-Phi to James. Peter to James, the master and the Ma'bakar, the bishop of the devoted church or congregation. Trip about this. Under the Father of all, through Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, which is shalom always. Peter is writing to James, and according to Peter, James is the bishop, the master over all the churches and the assemblies under the Most High, under the Messiah. All right, and as you keep reading, you're going to see. We're going to jump down some more. That ain't it. I'm going to show y'all. All right. Yeah, Peter had to report to James, and James would send Peter out. All right, watch this. Show y'all something else. On 1 second. Right here. Here go Clement. Right after Peter gets, right before Peter gets martyred. Because we all know Peter was martyred, right? Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. Clement to Yaakov, James, the master, the Lord, and the Ma'bakari, the bishop of all bishops. Y'all see that? The bishop of all bishops who rules Jerusalem, the set apart assembly of the Hebrews, and the congregations everywhere. And the congregations everywhere, excellently rounded by the providence of Yahweh, with the Zaquanim, the elders and attendants, and the rest of the brothers. Shalom be always. All right, y'all, this is what they call Nazarene history or church history. The Messiah himself set up James. Through the Father himself set up James. Through the Messiah, after the Messiah resurrected and ascended. It was James who was the master of all masters, or the bishop of all bishops, and in charge of all the assemblies in Messiah, not only in Jerusalem, but everywhere else. That's why Barnabas finally took Paul back to Jerusalem. He had to check in. He had to check in. And according to Paul's own writings in Galatians 1, you can read that. He said he didn't even go check in with those who were apostles before him. No, that's against protocol. He was supposed to check in, and he didn't check in. So we got Acts 12 that shows after Peter was released out of prison and how Peter had to go check in, go show these things to James. You ask yourself, well, why James? You get in Acts 15, James stands up and gives a judgment over what Paul and Barnabas are supposed to be teaching. So we in the Bible with it. Then we go to this first century document called the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles, or the recognitions of Clement, and we got at least 2 witnesses. Look, I got even more. Matter of fact, I want to show that real quick, because the protocol is if James ain't snapped you valid, you are not to be received. If I got time to show that real quick, well, pass let me know.
I mean, we got all the time in the world, but you know, we do 4 or 5 hours. Before you do that, I'm gonna let him go ahead and ask another question. You know what I mean? You could go back to that if you want, but if you want to hear it,
I just wanted to show.
And then I'm gonna let my brother. Yeah.
I just wanted to show that. Look, man, we ain't making none of this up. It ain't like I made it up, and you know what I mean. These things are actually written. They're documented. They talk about these things in Harvard and Yale. Those who have PhDs in theology for real, they know about the Clementine homilies. They know about the Nazarene.
Well, I actually have that. I actually have what you talk about.
Yes.
So
yes, they
we haven't brought a lot of that stuff out, and you know why, but it is.
Yeah, I understand.
But go ahead, brother.
I know it's a hard pill. Let me say this real quick. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. What I'm saying is that there's historical information and biblical information, if you know how to look at it, that show James was the bishop. Peter was the top apostle. Peter was the top apostle that was sent forth, yes, with authority. Absolutely. But he had to report to James. And if I can read something else in there later on, just let me know. I'll praise. I relinquish the mic.
Hey, Qanath, man. I'm so sorry, man.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna tell you to come back on now. You go ahead and ask you over because you said 4 questions and other people.
Oh, I'm about to ask Brother Malaki. I'm about to ask Brother Malaki 2 questions into one, and Brother Malaki, don't get frustrated because it's not hard once I ask you 2 questions in. All right, cool. But before I do, I want to make a quick statement because you mentioned that Paul and James are knocking heads against each other and stuff like that. Well, if that's your stance, then we will have to assume that not only Paul and James knocking heads, but Peter and James are knocking heads against each other as well, because according to 2 Peter chapter 4, we see that Peter supports everything that Paul is writing the letters to his own churches that he teaches.
2 Peter 3, 2 Peter 3, 15 through 17.
Yeah. Salaki. So, but that's my quick statement. All right, my second question, with 2 questions into one question, if that makes sense. Matthew chapter 26, when the Messiah said in verse 28, for this is my blood of the new covenant, aka New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins, right? Well, verse 27, he told the disciples to drink ye all of it. So one question, and the second question, is Messiah in error when he told the disciples to drink the blood? And we're going to figure out metaphorically what kind of drink he's expressing here if we keep reading. He's not. Okay. So with that being said, then we can also say that the Messiah is not in error when he also said that he is going to drink the fruit of the vine, which is wine, and the everlasting kingdom. Do you agree to that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Then my last question, since we knocked those 2 questions out the box, my last question is, can you break down Wisdom of Solomon chapter 16 verse 12, and then I yield.
Go ahead and read it, and let's see. We can
Okay. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 16 verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health, but thy word, O Yahweh, which healeth all things.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. In total agreement.
Okay. All right. Well, then I yield then.
Hallelujah. Total agreement, brother.
Real short with that. Hold on. Let me say this real quick. You was real quick with that. So go ahead and ask that last one. Then let the brother or Timothy come back on. You can ask one more, brother, because you said 4. So go ahead. You was real quick with them 2. Go ahead.
Oh no, that was it.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah, because I said 2 questions into one to knock those 2 questions out the box. So
absolutely, man. Hey, look, we believe the Messiah is the Lamb, unblemished Lamb of the Heavenly Father. You know what I mean? By his stripes we are healed. Absolutely.
Hey, Tim, you got a quick question real quick, and then we're gonna let the elder brother come back on. And Malaki, we're gonna let you give a closing statement unless you want to. Let me say this real quick before you get that. This is your opportunity, because I doubt this brother do this again. This is your opportunity.
But look, you know what I mean? It's a few people that want to it's a few people call themselves wanting to debate and all that. But we really ain't even with all the debating. Pastor Dial called it out. So, we'll take his head for free. That's all good. He's a Goliath in it. You dig? 150,000 subscribers, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. He has reach and influence. You know what I mean? I had my young gunner go ahead and send them the message and say, look, we calling you out on the chicken. That yard bird all these Negroes love to eat and chew on. You know what I mean? We gonna call you out since you love butchering chickens. We'll debate. Look, we'll pay for everything. You understand? Look, it'll be free to everybody who want to join. We'll take his head for free. Absolutely. But other than that, we not debating. You know what I mean? We just dropping our classes. We just dropping our classes, and we teaching and we healing like the Messiah called us to do. So you're absolutely right. But look, I ain't got no problem coming on, man, and going over scriptures and asking questions and all that. And y'all always remember this: if we disagree, that's just a disagreement, man. It really ain't. Right. It really ain't nothing to be getting everybody all like bent out of shape over. You know what I mean? It's like I haven't renounced the Messiah. I believe wholeheartedly in the sinless one, the divine Son of the Most High. You know what I mean? We just got different perspectives. That's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let me say let me say this one more thing. I remember one time, right? I was so indoctrinated that I almost shot a man. Because he said Joseph was Christ's father. You say it again. You did? I almost shot a man. Meet me outside. You did? And the Most High had to sit me down and humble me, man. You know what I mean? Because that ain't of the Most High, regardless if we disagree or not. You see what I'm saying? But you about this? We use the gang bang in the spirit. You ain't with us, nigga. The hell with you, and you know what I mean, bro? That's indoctrination, and that's not of the spirit of the Most High. You know what I mean? I'm saying that to say this. I know brothers who believe Joseph Christ's father. I know brothers who believe like us that believe in the spiritual miracle birth of the Messiah. You know what I mean? My thing is this. There's no reason, if it's a disagreement, y'all, there's no reason to be getting all corner and foaming at the mouth and getting personal, man. Right. Because I almost went there with a brother one time, man. I had to apologize to that brother and call him. It was years later. You understand? When it finally hit, like, come on, how was that even of Messiah? Right. Let me say something real quick. Does he believe I'm sorry to cut you, Mally, real quick. I'm sorry, bro. Hebrew Council. I hate liars, man. I hate liars, brother. You said Qanath, the same dude last week, was defending eating chicken and other meats. Now he all bowing down, smiling while this dude, that's your brother, why this dude blaspheme. Listen, I told everybody at the beginning of this program, right, that I'm neutral in this. I said I'm listening. Right? That's exactly what I said. Am I gonna stop eating meat? No. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go back and look at what he said. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look at very carefully what he said. That's why the whole time I was listening. So you know what? Just for that, man, I'm just gonna block you forever. Because at the end of the day, I don't like that, man. Liars, bro. Hey, you know what, Qanath? But you about this. Even if you did get to a point to where it was like, you know what? You know what I mean? Even if I don't see everything bro's saying, but I know just for health reasons and benefits, you know what? You know what I mean? I'm gonna go ahead and subscribe. What's wrong with growing, man? We done became indoctrinated in what we call this Hebrew thing, man. You so indoctrinated, you scared to be yourself. You know what I mean? Like, look, as long as what you're doing is aligning with the Most High's eternal commands, written with his finger, the renewed covenant, y'all, the totality that no man should teach you anyway. Those same laws written on tables of stone will be written right here. Okay? Right. We're guardians of creation. Even if Qanath decided to grow and say, you know what? Even if I don't agree totally with what Macabee and them saying, bro, I do agree with the health benefits, man. I do feel a lot better. You know what I mean? There are more years behind me than in front of me. Let me try to preserve my vessel and be around for my grandchildren and great grands. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with you growing and
Malaki, my moderator, Star. I don't know if you can see my comment board. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a question that she want for you or for somebody else, and then we'll let the other brother, born again Israel, finish his last question up, and then Yehuda and Timothy, y'all close out with Malaki. She said, Elder want to ask if Genesis 2:4-8 proves that man was here day one when compared to Genesis 1:6. That's an excellent question.
You know what I mean? Because look, I came from the school of thought that Genesis 2 was just a synopsis or a recap of Genesis 1. You know what I mean? But look about this. I'm gonna go a step further, start not just with man, because you'll see the order of creation is different in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, right? But trip about this. In Genesis 1 and 20, the fowl that flies in the air comes out the water. In Genesis 2 and 19, all the fowls that fly in the air come out the ground. You know what I mean? Now, we usually teach that that's just a synopsis or a summary of Genesis 1. But actuality, y'all, there's two different scribes writing about their perspective of creation. That's what it is. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So, you know, of course, you got man being made first in Genesis 2, but then man being made on day 6 in Genesis 1. You got man and woman being made together, Genesis 1 and 27, but then you got man being made in Genesis 2, then the animals, then Eve being taken out of Adam's rib in Genesis 2. I would say, I would propose, you know, and you don't got to agree with me, but there are two separate accounts of creation written by two different scribes. That's what I would say. All right, what else we got, Qanath?
All right, hallelujah. I'm gonna let the brother that came on, the elder brother was in the car. I don't have my glasses on. Karakazar, go ahead, let you get one more question in, brother. You know, and then tell them you get yours, and then we close out. Yehud, I know why you want to come on. You want to ask the brother or correct the brother Karakazar on the statement that he made that you said about the 12. The 12. So right. Yeah, go ahead, get your question in.
All right, grace and peace. It's not the first time I've heard that statement about the 12 apostles, but if they will consider that James and John were the sons of Zebedee, okay, then they got to reconsider their conclusion. If they consider that Peter and Andrew were brothers, then they got to reconsider their conclusion. That cannot be true. Now, as concerning the bishop, a bishop is not over an apostle. When you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 28, in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 28, it said, and God set them in the church, first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, and after that miracles. So a bishop is not above an apostle. How it's set up is first apostles, secondarily prophets. So even Timothy was going to appoint elders and appoint bishops. A bishop is a superintendent. The superintendent is not over the apostle, according to what the scripture is saying. And we all brothers, that God be true and every man be a liar. So we can be mistaken in our perception, but the scripture is giving us sound doctrine that cannot be gainsaid. And then as for the part that James was the master, Christ said out of his own mouth in Matthew chapter 23, verse 8 to 10. Now let me read this right here. Matthew 23, verse 8 to 10. Bear with me 1 second. Because this is important for us to look at and understand. Matthew 23, verse 8 to verse 10. But be not ye called rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. Absolutely. And call no man father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. And neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. So James nor Peter could disobey that and set up something contrary to the doctrine of the Messiah. And the Messiah said, neither be ye called masters, because he's the master, and everybody has to submit to his teaching. So I beseech the brothers to reconsider what the word is saying, not what I'm saying, what the word is saying. And then the other part right here, that the women were first at the tomb when you read about the resurrection of Christ. And when they went to go tell Peter and them, because you give an account, because Peter in the book of Acts chapter 12 is going to go tell James. That does not mean James was over Peter. According to the scripture, it says that he was the apostle, and the apostle is above the bishop. Paul was an apostle, he was above the bishop and above the deacon. So we need to reconsider, because biblically it is not true. Okay,
I disagree with you, brother.
Okay, but I'm just saying I agree with what the word said, and I'll agree with anything the word says.
Yeah, but trip off this. You know, you're a learned man. You know as well as I know that there were many councils held by men that determined what was heretical and what was authorized. You know that everything that was ordained and set forth by the Messiah as taught to his disciples, we breathed the Ruach HaKodesh on. You understand? Those writings did not make it into your authorized Bible. 80% of the New Testament is Paul's writings. Who never met the Messiah in the flesh. Now, I'm not saying that Paul was not a man of the Most High. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just like any man, like you, like me, or anybody on here, you're supposed to take whatever is said off his mouth as with a grain of salt. Paul says,
let him finish, Malaki. Let him get one in, Malaki.
Paul says himself, Paul calls himself a wretched man. Paul says the things that I'm supposed to do, I'm not doing. And what I'm not doing, that it was, oh, wretched man that I am. Paul said that. You understand? Paul goes and says, I speak as a man. Paul's the one that says that. Paul the one that says, whatever is sold in the shambles that eat and don't ask for any question for conscience sake. Paul says that. He's not quoting scriptures when he say that. He's speaking as a man, and he speaks as a man of light. If he's speaking according to the Torah or the law of the Most High, hallelujah. But if he's speaking as a man, you, me, anybody got the right to look at that as with a grain of salt. And that's that's just the truth. That's just the truth. You never answered why Peter had to go check in with James.
Because you're communicating. I'm gonna answer it.
Bro, listen to me. You didn't even answer it.
Let him answer, Marty. Let him answer, Marty.
You didn't even answer that biblically. Then in Acts 15, it's obvious that James stands up and gives a judgment. Who gives judgment? Those who are in charge and in authority. He gave a judgment to Paul and Barnabas on what to teach. Where you go?
He left.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna let you come in, brother. Even he left, we got cut off. I don't know what happened. Tim, go ahead, because Yehuda was gonna go in about the 12. Tim, go ahead with your question real quick. Tim is part of our family over here too. Oh, he's coming back. Hold on, Tim. Hold on. He's coming back, Tim. I want him to let him. Wait a minute, he's coming back on. I don't know what I didn't cut you off, brother. So I don't know what happened. I didn't cut you off. Go ahead and answer. Wait a minute, hold on, before you answer. He asked you to wait a minute. He asked you to answer 2 questions biblically with scripture with Paul, because he read off 2 scriptures. So if you can, do that.
When you read in Acts chapter 15, I'm gonna go look at it again. It said God made choice among us. He made choice among us. See, when the Lord made choice among us, that means he was the one that was chosen. So we can be clear. God made choice among us that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe. So when the Father made choice, that means he's the most preeminent one in the light. Scripture tells us, though we may boast somewhat more of our authority. So Peter had more authority because he was more enlightened. There's certain things, that's why it says in the book of Daniel chapter 9, that Christ was going to confirm the covenant with them. The reason why the covenant had to be confirmed, because even the disciples had to learn more about the new covenant. They had to learn it. So it's an era where men are looking at, well, Paul had to go make a sacrifice because of the gospel. The new covenant was not fully understood even by the disciples. They had to grow into it.
What?
That's why Paul said, one second.
Oh my
God.
That
is why I'm saying that. I'm going to say why I'm saying that, brother.
Wow.
But you can't make a sacrifice. It said by one offering have we perfected forever them that were sanctified. So Christ made the offering and perfected everybody once and for all. His offering. So Paul was not sinning in what he was teaching, and Paul said, whether I or they. So we speak, so we believe, because there's only one gospel, one faith, one spirit, one hope. That's what he said. So it's not a battle. There's a growth in the gospel that everybody has to see. That's why they didn't see in the beginning. They didn't see in the beginning that the Gentiles were called. They had to get the light about that. That's why the word was only being preached to Jews only.
That's not.
One second. That's why God made choice among them. So I'm gonna say this, brother. I'm gonna say this right here, brother. Okay. Number 1, a bishop is not an apostle. Because Timothy was appointing bishops. The apostles are over the bishops, man. That's number 1. So that's incorrect. And when Paul is speaking in 1 Timothy, that the Spirit speaketh expressly in the latter times, some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. He was saying the truth in Christ. He was not speaking as a man, because Paul was appointed to be Christ's minister. Now, if you reject what Acts says, that he was appointed to be Christ's minister, which I know you don't reject that, because what Scripture said, he was the minister, and he was not lying. He said, I said the truth in Christ. My conscience bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost. And when he spoke as a man, he told you he spoke as a man.
Not all the time. Not all the time. No, he didn't.
As a man.
Not all the time.
When he said he spoke as a man, he said And one more thing about the wretchedness.
No, look, hold on. You saying a lot. You saying that
Malachi 250, it's 250, 251. I'm gonna stop. Okay. When Paul is saying, "Oh wretched man that I am," because man has to look at his corruptible body. Man has to look at the body of the sins that he's in. Man has to look at the law of sin and death that's operating in his members. But when you go to the next chapter, he said, "The law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus have made me free." So man has to look at his sickness before he can be healed. Even Moses said he asked the Lord for help because he didn't want the people to see his wretchedness. It's about being honest with yourself. So it's not that he was a wretched man to discredit his testimony. His testimony, he did not testify of himself. He did not speak of himself because the gospel that was testified by Paul was sent and given to him by Christ. It was by the revelation of Jesus Christ. And we got to believe what is written and not our mind.
But look. What you end up saying is white evangelicalism. You saying that the prophets not the prophets, the disciples, the apostles, who the Messiah
hold on. Okay. No, it's just a lot of okay. You know what I mean? You answered it. You know, Yehuda Mally wasn't the one that said something about the 12. I'm gonna let you finish.
But look,
Mally was not the one that said something about the 12 apostles. That was Yehuda. So I'm gonna allow Yehuda to defend that. Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna allow Yehuda to defend that.
And look, he's teaching you. Look, you teaching that white boy Christianity. They teach that. No. That's what you teaching. They teach that the apostles. Let me talk. I'll let you talk. Let me talk.
Don't be trying to
look. You too proud, man.
You're trying to slander somebody.
And that's the word on you out here in these streets. You proud. You know what I mean? You proud. Let me finish, man. Let me finish. Because that's what these heathens teach. The heathens teach that the apostles did not fully understand Christ and that Paul understood him more. That's what you was just saying. That's what you was just saying. That they didn't have a perfect understanding of him. How is that possible? No. How is that possible? How is that possible when he breathed the Ruach HaKodesh on them? How is that possible? Look. How is that possible when he let me finish? How is that possible when he breathed the Holy Spirit on them? How is that possible when the holy tongues of fire set on them? How is that possible? How is that possible when he hung out with them after he resurrected and taught them about the coming kingdom? And you got the nerve to come up here with that heathen doctrine, talking about the apostles didn't understand their master better. They didn't understand him. They didn't understand him better than Paul. Paul, your God.
All right, brothers. All right, I don't want to mute y'all, Mike. Okay. Yehuda, you want to go ahead, brother, and say what you had to say?
Hey, grace and peace. Yeah, this is Yehuda. How you doing, bro? Grace and peace. I just want to make a statement. Then I gotta go because I gotta get up early in the morning. Now, according to the gospel, right? Christ did say that all the apostles will sit on the throne, judging all 12 tribes.
Right.
He said they will sit on the throne, judging all 12 tribes. Now, according to the ancient writings, when you're dealing with the contenders of the apostles, that was written by, they say, the disciples of the apostles. Now, I just want to read something here real quick, and I'm gonna let you go, Qanath.
Okay.
Real fast.
And I'll let you answer it, brother. I'll let you answer it.
Yeah. After that, he can answer. Now, I said the contenders of the apostles, right, was written by the disciples of the apostles. Okay. In fact, it says the legends of the apostles written in the dialect of the Coptic spoken in Upper Egypt, right, and Ethiopia, right. So now let's go see what they said here concerning the what tribes they came from. because Christ said that they're going to sit on the throne judging over 12 tribes. Right here it said, and the thing I love about this book here, it lines up with the Gospels, and also it goes into giving you more details of what happened, where they went, who they taught, and how they died. That's how the biblical scholars know that Peter was hung on the cross upside down. How did they know this? Through the contenders of the apostles. How did they know how the Jewish authorities killed James? How did they know? Through the writings of the contenders of the apostles. They know where they went, how they died, everything. So right here it says here, the genealogies of the apostles. It says the father of Simon, who was surnamed Peter, and of Andrew his brother, was of the house of Reuben. We know there was brothers of the house of Reuben. We know this. And his mother's mother was of the house of Simon or Simeon. And it says Simon Peter's mother loved him greatly, and she named him Simon after the name of her father's family. And because Andrew's brother or Andrew's father loved him greatly, he counted him among the family of his father Reuben. Okay, Zebedee, it says Zebedee was of the house of Levi, and he took to wife a woman of the house of Judah, who bore to him 2 sons called James and John. So we know James and John was brothers. Everybody know this, right? Now, because the father of James loved him greatly, he counted him among the family of his father Levi. And it says, and similarly, because the mother of John loved him greatly, she counted him among the family of her father Judah. And for this reason, she brought him forth to Jesus, for she herself was of the house of Judah, and Christ also was of the house of Judah, according to the flesh. And they were subnamed the children of the thunder, for they both were of the priestly houses in the royal house. I'm almost done. And Philip was of the house of Zebulun, and Bartholomew was of the house of Naphtali. Now his name was formerly John. So it says that Bartholomew's name was formerly John, right? So it says Bartholomew was of the house of Naphtali, but his former name was John. But it says here, but our Lord Christ changed his name because of John, the son of Zebedee, he beloved. And Matthew was of the house of Issachar, and Thomas was of the house of Asher, and James, the son of Alphaeus, was of the house of Gad. Then it says, and Thaddeus was of the house of Joseph, and Simon, the son of Cleopas, who was some named Nathaniel, was of the house of Benjamin, and Judas Iscariot was of the house of Dan. Then it said, now Dan sold his brother Joseph, blah, blah, for 20 pieces of silver, blah, blah, blah. And in like manner, Judas sold our Lord for 30 pieces of silver. Now, I'm reading from the contenders of the apostles. According to the contenders of the apostles, it gives you the genealogies of the 12 apostles. That's all I have to say. Hey, Qanath, I got to get up early in the morning and drive to Brooklyn, man. I said, grace and peace to everybody.
Grace and peace.
Grace and peace. Grace and peace.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Right on for having me on, brother.
No doubt.
We met in the flesh before. You embrace you, Sham, the whole F.O.P.E family. You know what I mean? It's all praise, glory, and honor. Forgive me for turning up just a little bit.
That's all right.
Brothers be a little passionate, man. But I do believe in decency and order. It's all good. You know what I mean? Anybody talking crazy against the ministry, against the assembly, whatever, shalom to you as well, whether you be friend or foe. You know what I mean? We embrace and accept every spirit of opposition sent our way, because that's how we know that we're standing on holy ground. In the end, the Honor and Humility Assembly is not teaching any of you all to sin. We are teaching you to put down the flesh, the strong drink, and the smoke, and dedicate your vessels totally back. That's the core message of our entire message. You know what I mean? It's time to dedicate our bodies back to the Most High and live. Troublous times is ahead of us. And if our bellies are our gods, we are going to be in trouble. You know what I mean? Get back to learning, get back to praying, get back to meditating. You understand? And listen to the voice of the Most High that's been speaking to you before you can even remember. You understand? Before you can even remember, that's his word that's pure. You know right from wrong. It's just time to activate, regulate, and level up. And those are my last words.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Bless you and yours. You know what I mean? All praises, brother.
Most High bless you. Thank you for coming on, because I did call you so you can get your point across, and you did a great job. Like I said, this is an open platform for anybody to come on. We don't have to agree. We can agree or disagree. You know, everybody has the opportunity to speak. I will say this. A lot of people will be challenged, right? Or people that talks a lot of trash, they won't come do what you did. Okay? They won't come do what you did. You came on here. You spoke very well. You brought out scriptures. You brought out history. You know, people can take it or believe it. They don't have to. Like I say, it's up to them. You know, and you came on here alone, right? You didn't have nobody with you, and a lot of brothers won't do that. And you allow people to come on, and you didn't have no idea who was going to come on and ask any questions.
Right.
I say that's leaning on faith. I say that's leaning on faith, because it's people that can really trap you up. I know I done got trapped up before. So you stood on faith, brother. So if anybody, you had your opportunity to come on here, I was not biased. I did not take my side. I didn't take nobody's side. I let him spar. I let everybody ask a question. He answered. You know, he even asked people questions. So I hope to see you again on the program, man. Like I said, man, Most High bless all of y'all, man. You know, stay strong. At the end of the day, brother, we all brothers, and we all got the same fight, bro. Since we all got the same fight, it's not that serious, man. We got to come together, man, eventually.
Absolutely.
So Most High bless. Thanks for coming on again, out. Most High bless.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother. Abundant blessings to you and your household and the entire F.O.P.E brotherhood, which include the sisterhood as well. You know what I mean? We even challenging our sisters. Level up. You know what I mean? Genesis 1:27. In the image of God made he them, male and female. Ooh-wee. I know that rattles some of these narcissistic Negroes. What? Ooh-wee. All right, brother. Love you indeed in truth, man. I'm about to go ahead and get to my family, man. All my children over, so we about to make it.
All right, no doubt, man. I've been last since 4. Most High bless y'all, man.
Shalom.
Shalom. Okay, Israel, I hope y'all enjoyed the program, man. You know, hey, it is what it is, man. Love y'all, man. Get the likes up or dislikes, whatever. You know, hit it, man. You know, we're gonna try to do more of this and teaching and bringing people on, just to have a friendly dialogue where you don't have to fist fight and curse each other out. You know, and keep everything respectable. My moderators, man, Most High bless y'all, man. Y'all done a great job moderating, putting down scriptures, getting rid of the people who was very disrespectful. And the people that disagreed, that was on the comment board, you got a right to disagree. Just keep it respectful. That's all we ask. So again, man, Most High bless y'all. We got more classes coming. I got my books out of storage. Oh yeah, we about to get some real work in showing things. So hey, Most High bless y'all, man. This is Qanath, Yahweh the Bun Yasha Allah, F.O.P.E. Don't get F.O.P.E. Shalom, man. Shalom.